All right, so welcome officially. Stop that. Okay, hopefully we've got the tech going. All good. Can you all hear me okay? See me okay? All good. Okay, well let's crack on. So officially welcome to this what I call the Art of Letting Go Masterclass, which is really all about, in summary, how to let go and find your flow. My name's Jonathan Quayle. I'll be introducing myself a little bit later in the presentation, so I won't do that quite yet. The sort of longer form of the title is How to Master the Art of Letting Go of Any Stressful Thought or Emotion in Minutes and Find Authentic Happiness, Fulfilling Flow, Higher Purpose, Ecstatic Well-Being, and True Success to thrive through adversity in these turbulent times. If you've been watching what's going on in the Middle East, I think that's very pertinent. By tapping into the transformative power of 7 ancient spiritual techniques. So that's quite a mouthful, but I'm going to unpack that for you as you go, so don't get scared. So just this is what I'm going to guide you through tonight. First of all, let's do a little breath-driven two-step letting go process. So it's been quite a long day. If you're all in South Africa, it's quite late. You might be a bit tired, so just 5 minutes to kind of recenter, refresh. And it also just demonstrates some of the power of the techniques I'll talk about tonight. So I'm just going to ask you to sit comfortably, so sit quietly, sit comfortably, put everything else down, put your phone on mute or silent, close your eyes, back straight, cup your hands in your lap or put your hands palms facing upwards on your thighs, and just start off with a nice deep breath in through the nose. Just breathing in and breathing out through the nose. Just nice, deep, slow, rhythmical breaths. Take 10 deep breaths in and out through the nose and just slow everything down. What you want to do is just focus all the attention on the breath. So notice how the stomach rises, the chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pause at the top of the inhale, smile. If you notice any thoughts going on, kind of let them go with the breath. Sense of just releasing with the breath. Exhale out and breathing in again. Make sure you breathe in through your nose and notice how the stomach rises. It's called diaphragmatic breathing. It's a basic foundational breathwork technique. It's how you should breathe always, actually. It activates called this parasympathetic nervous system, which relaxes you. So breathing in, breathing out. Notice how the stomach rises and the stomach falls, and you're getting more and more relaxed with every breath. If any disturbing thought, maybe thinking about the past or the future, what's going to happen tomorrow, the next few days, the weekend ahead, just gently notice that and let that go with the breath. So you can imagine now that as you breathe in, actually breathing light into whatever that disturbing thought is. Maybe a golden or a white light, just flowing into your heart. Maybe you're feeling a bit of discomfort anywhere else, maybe in your chest, your stomach, maybe in your back, your shoulders, your neck. Just have a sense of breathing in this light into that contracted space, contracted part of your body. If you visualize well, you can imagine a nice golden or white light just flowing into every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being, is in the light. And then have a sense that this dark thought, emotion, maybe you visualize it as a dark energy, maybe it's just a dark feeling, a contracted feeling, that this is dissipating in the light. It's just, you're just letting it go and help it on its way as you breathe out. Nice full exhale out your mouth, just blowing it out. Imagine you're breathing out a dark smoke, energy, however you want to visualize it or conceive of it, whatever works for you. Just expelling it all out. It's leaving your body, your mind, your energy system. Pull the lower stomach into the spine to really expel it all out. Hold the breath briefly. And then inhale. Nice, deep, slow, rhythmical inhale. And imagine that you're inhaling light into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is in this light, which is intensifying with each breath. Just carry on breathing in and out through the nose. Imagine you're breathing this light in. You're feeling lighter, clearer, calmer, more peaceful with every breath. There's really nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, just breathe, relax, be still, and be at peace. So I'll just be quiet for a couple of minutes. You're just going to carry on the breathing process. Visualize and or feel this light flowing in and radiating out. It's just happening. The breath is breathing you, the light is flowing in and out. And maybe you can get a sense that you're not really breathing. You're just being breathed. The light is flowing in and out of and through you. You're just a kind of a vessel, a conduit for this. And notice how peaceful and calm and relaxing that thought and that feeling is. So be quiet for a couple of minutes, just breathing in and out through your nose. Observe the breath. If any thoughts come in, just letting those go with the breath. Focus on subtle sensations of the breath, the stomach rising and falling. Subtle sensation of the air flowing into the nostrils and out of the nostrils. By focusing on the present moment, you let go of those distracting thoughts. So just practice that for a couple of minutes. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, relax, and be still. For the next 2 minutes of deep silence. Any thoughts come in, just gently let them go with the breath. And restore your mind to this nice, clear, calm, empty state of awareness. For another minute or so of deep silence. So just gently coming back now via the body and the breath. Thinking of Margaret's phone is serving as a great aid actually to the meditation. So just noticing what you're feeling in your body, the breath, senses, notice what you're feeling and touching, your hands. On the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, scanning your mind if there are any remaining distracting thoughts or feelings. Just exhale them out, letting them go with the breath. Count of 2, notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. Notice what you're feeling and touching with your hands, feet. Notice maybe the subtle sensation of air on your skin. Notice the air flowing into your nostrils. Maybe there's a subtle smell in your nose, a taste in your mouth. Notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. Just take 30 seconds to look around, kind of ground yourself back in, and notice how different you feel now compared with 10 minutes ago when you entered this room. It's always worth paying attention after a little, effectively a meditation process. Very short, it was less than 10 minutes, but it's always worth noticing how you feel. And that gives you an experiential understanding of these processes and how powerful they can be. So maybe someone would like to share just for a minute or so. You feel more relaxed, Margaret?
I feel more relaxed if I put this phone somewhere else. It's on airtime.
Yeah.
On that, whatever.
Well, it kind of actually worked. It sort of brought us into and out of the meditation. It even sounded like one of those bells, which is really cool. Yeah. So anyone else like to share? Did you experience anything
Yes.
anything interesting, profound, or was it just relaxing?
It shows it's not. It takes effort to actually dismiss everything else from your mind.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen just without a bit of an effort. In this, maybe it does by the end of the couple of hours, but at the beginning, I think your life is still busy.
Yeah, it's a
Too busy.
practice.
Yes.
There's lots of thoughts going on, and the idea behind just observing the breath is to observe the thoughts and start quieting the thoughts, quieting the mind, just through a simple breath watching practice. Amazing how effective it is.
Yes.
In fact, that's what the Buddha taught people. He taught this fundamental meditation technique just based on breathing. Yes. Very, very simple, but very, very effective. Okay, anyone else like to share anything? Otherwise, we'll crack on. Hopefully that was relaxing for you all and sort of cleared the mind, prepared you to really just open your mind and to quite a lot of information I'm going to share. But try to give it some structure. So we're going to dive into the one essential skill that I promised to share that you need to master to allow your life to work miraculously, to find peace, happiness, freedom, joy. So we'll talk about some of those benefits. What are the 5 life-changing benefits of doing this? I'll reveal 7 stress-busting techniques to help you to master the one essential skill, because it's one skill, but it's probably the hardest skill to master. It's not an easy skill, otherwise everyone would have mastered it, and it's very few people have in this world. The people who've mastered it we call enlightened. And then we'll talk about how you can integrate practicing these techniques into your daily life to experience all the life-changing benefits consistently, and what I call master the art of letting go. And I'll give you some examples of that from my own life and other people's lives of how these principles and techniques have profoundly affected it in a very positive way. And then we'll answer any questions. But if you have any comments or questions while we go, I don't mind if you stick up a hand and I'll answer them because it's pretty small. So yeah, tonight we're going to be going on for a bit. The plan is 2 hours and then some time for questions if you want to. So your gifts for staying for the entire duration. I'll give you a written worksheet for a powerful 10-step letting go process. What I just gave you was the essence of letting go, just 2 simple steps. But the 10-step letting go process goes into a bit more detail. It's what I call the industrial strength version. So if you have something particularly difficult to let go of, then this is something to use to work through it. And it's a written process, so you can write to your heart's content. It normally takes half an hour to an hour. I'll give you that worksheet free. Also, a 1-hour recording to guide you through it in a meditation and explain it. So you can write it. You can also do it in a meditation. I'll explain some of the principles behind it as well. And then, but only if you stay till the very end. Not the question. You can go if once we into questions, but just till I finish the presentation. Okay, so let me ask you a question. You don't have to answer this, but it's a question I just want you to pause and reflect on for a few moments. Why are you here today? Just think about that. And it must be because you're looking for something. No one shows up to presentations like this or does anything, in fact, if they're not looking for something. They don't think that there's some benefit for them. So maybe what you think you're looking for is relief from stress, anxiety, depression, and disease. Maybe those are big problems in your life. Related to that, maybe it's better health, maybe it's more wealth, or from wealth migrate. So that's probably somewhere in your thinking. Better relationships, perhaps better quality of life and lifestyle. These are all very, very, common things people want in their lives. So maybe looking for true meaning and purpose, maybe spiritual awakening, maybe a combination of those things. But let me ask you another question. Ultimately, what are you really looking for? Just pause and reflect on that for a bit. What are you really looking for? Anyone like to venture an answer? What's everyone really looking for?
I'm looking for that I know that I'm going somewhere really good when I pass over.
Okay, so that's awakening. Another dimension, another reality. In your daily life, if I was to put a word to it, what does everyone want? They just want to be happy.
Good relationships.
Happiness. What you could call it peace. You could call it happiness. You could call it joy. There's many words for it, but it's a sense of being okay with life. Everything's okay. I'm not stressed. I'm not resisting life. I'm not unhappy with things. I don't have all kinds of negative emotions. Another word for it is flow, and I'll dive into some of the terminology as we go, because there's various words, and they really all point to the same thing. Words are just pointers to thoughts and emotions that are actually beyond words. But if we're going to put a word to it, we'll just use happiness for the sake of it, because it's quite a nice sort of general word that most people understand. So then the question becomes, why haven't you found lasting happiness yet? Why are you still seeking for it? Why is most of the world seeking for it? When everyone's looking for it, why can't we find it? And the answer is very simple. It's because you've been looking in the wrong place. We've been conditioned by our society, by our parents, by our peers, to think that we'll be happy when we have better or more of something else. And that something else is outside of ourselves. So that may be a fantastic, young, sexy body, fit, healthy body. We're bombarded with these images all the time in the media. Marketing companies know very well that this is how they can sell products and services to you. You see, the classic marketing is a a young, sexy blonde with a car. Now, what is a what does that have to do with a car? Nothing really, but it's just by association. So we get bombarded with this kind of stuff all the time, and it goes, it goes into our psyche. And if you're not vigilant against it, you can go, oh yeah, well, there's the formula for happiness. When I have the six pack, when I have, this amazing body, then I'll be happy. But of course, we know what happens. We get old, the body fades, the body gets old, and that cannot last. And no matter how much Botox or plastic surgery you do, you are going to age. It's inevitable. So that's clearly not a formula for lasting happiness. It might work for a few years while you're young. Maybe it's a fancy car, but cars break down. Cars need insurance. And if anyone's bought a new car, you kind of know the feeling. After about a week or two, it sort of wears off and you just take it for granted. Oh, I was really chuffed with it, but now it's just like what I drive to get to from A to B, maybe in some style. But clearly, not a recipe for lasting happiness. That feeling doesn't last. Maybe it's the design a house. Some amazing houses burn down. Maybe it's holidays. I've just been on a holiday, but we all saw what happened with COVID. And now, if you were planning to have a holiday in the Middle East, then sorry, they're closed for business. So and a holiday, ends fairly quickly. Maybe it's fine dining, special relationship, loved one, romantic relationship, and we all know what happens when relationships go bad and turn sour. I was speaking to a guy this evening at my yoga studio, and he said, "Yeah, a lifelong friend, and then just we fell out in COVID, and after 30 years of friendship, that was it. More than that, 40 years." So, can you rely on any of this stuff? Maybe it's knowledge. We've all probably read some of these kinds of books, personal growth books, Dale Carnegie, how to win friends and influence people, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey. These are classics. I'm not saying that they don't have value, but you have to apply them. It's no good just reading books. You actually have to start living it. Otherwise, you're not really seeing the wood for the trees. You get lost in theory and not living it. Um, maybe it's motivation. Maybe I've been to one of these seminars. That man, in case you didn't recognize him, is Tony Robbins, probably the most famous motivational speaker on the planet. Done phenomenally well, influenced millions of people's lives. I've been to one of these seminars, and it was really interesting because I found it actually a bit like a rock concert. He's a master at picking people up and then taking their state down, and people get really hyped up, as you can see. But is that sustainable? Does that last the morning after it finishes? I spoke to one lady who'd been 7 times, so maybe not. Truth is, most people lead lives of quiet desperation and go to the grave with their song still in them. Henry David Thoreau, that's a paraphrase quote from him, which was quite an astute observation. So it was 200 years ago, and has much changed. There's still a lot of unhappiness, despair, quiet desperation that goes on in people's minds, which you don't necessarily read about until it becomes manifest in behavior. So someone commits suicide or something, and then it maybe makes the news. But it was the quiet desperation that drove them to it. And they go to the grave with their song still in them. So there's something we all came here to do. There's a purpose. There's a higher purpose and a meaning to our life. And that's your song. And if you don't find that song and sing it in your life, then there's always going to be a sense of something missing in your life. And this is what Henry David Thoreau is pointing out. Maybe it's pills, cigarettes, alcohol, but we know where addiction leads. It's not a recipe for happiness, as any addict will tell you, because the high leads to an even bigger low, and then you need to seek the high again. And the more you do that, the more addicted you get to the substance or whatever it is. The more unhappy you actually become. And then you just need your substance just to feel normal. Maybe it's psychotherapy. I don't know if any of you have tried psychotherapy, but my experience and what a lot of people have said is that there's a lot of talking, and often it doesn't. You can go on and on discussing your problems for years, but actually you need to move on. You need to learn to let go of them rather than dwelling on them for 10 years. Um, so really, to summarize all of this, all mental illness is some form of external searching. All of these things that I've just been through are a form of external searching for something outside of yourself, often symbolized by money, which is why I got a picture of dollar bills in the background, because money is a means of allowing us to pursue our desires. Whatever we want outside, apparently money will buy it, which is why we invented it, so that we can fulfill these desires and we have a means to do that. But does it really work? Does money make you happy? Do the things money buys make you happy ongoing? And Course in Miracles, which I'll talk a bit more about a little bit later, suggests that that's not the case. Because it's actually seeking outside of yourself is a form of external searching, which is mental illness. So what does the research say about this? This is a quote by a lady called Dr. Laurie Santos, who has a very successful podcast called The Happiness Lab, where she discusses various teachings from ancient Greece to the East and so on happiness. Fascinating. So check it out if you want to. But in summary, what she's saying is that what we think will make us happy isn't what's going to make us happy. Science shows us that our minds don't always point us in the right direction. So we long for all the things I've just been through: fame, money, a beach body, a new car, all these things outside of ourselves. And society obviously is predicated on these things. We have huge industries that offer us these things and say, this is going to make you happy. We expect these things will make us happier because that's what we've been conditioned to believe. But she's saying the research is telling us that is just completely wrong. Those expectations are flat out wrong. She can't say it any clearer than that. In the background, that's a photo I took in a shop window a few years ago over the festive season. Happiness is 18 days of festive deals. I mean, it's ridiculous. 18 days and then festive season goes, and how can that be any formula for lasting happiness? But these are the kinds of messages we're exposed to, which simply aren't true. So what the research says, this is based on a study called the Grant Study, which has been going about 85 years now. This was a quote after 75 years, but the findings haven't changed. 75 years, $20 million expended on this Grant Study, which was started in the early 1940s with a group of Harvard graduates, some of whom went on to become presidents. John F. Kennedy was part of that group. Senators, highly successful people, and they followed them through their life. They interviewed them every year, I think. And they also did a study with a lower socioeconomic group of men from, I think it was the Bronx. And they tracked them. And really, they found it's very, very simple. Happiness is love. It's as simple as that. People who had love in their lives, they had loving relationships with their spouses, with their family, they were part of a community where they felt accepted and loved, were much happier than people who weren't, even if those other people had achieved a lot of success. That didn't really matter. Neither did money, particularly. Once you got to a level of income that met your basic needs, more money wasn't the answer. And the research has shown this very clearly. This is the longest running study on happiness, by the way, in the world. So the research backs up what Laurie Santos has said, and she would no doubt have been aware of the Grant Study when she said it. So let's look then at what is the cause of unhappiness. We've looked at some of the the research around happiness and what makes you happy and what doesn't. What is the cause of unhappiness then? Well, when you know and believe you are enough, you don't need more. when you feel and believe you are not enough, you will always want more. This was a great quote by a lady called Marisa Peer, who's a hypnotherapist to various celebrities, Hollywood actors, movie stars, pop stars, etc. And her experience from dealing with all these, very, very successful people. They have all the money, they have fame, they have everything that the ego says you would want, and yet a lot of the time they're not very happy, which is why they go to her. Sometimes their lives are, in fact, in a mess. If you watched the movie Elvis, you'll see that's just like his life just he had everything, but he had nothing in the end. He was spiritually empty and broken and deeply unhappy, and so he turned to drugs, as a lot of them do. So really, all she does is teach her clients to let go of that need to want more, and say, like, I'm okay as I am. I am enough. She just gets them to do a simple affirmation saying, I am enough. And it works magic, works miracles. And she's like, well, why don't more psychotherapists and hypnotherapists do this? I don't know, but because it's a very, very simple foundational belief. If you know that you're enough, then you're contented, and if you're not enough, then you're always seeking outside of yourself for more. This was stated more clearly, well, in a different way, by Deepak Chopra. All stress is the perception of some form of external threat. So now we attach to the external and we go, my happiness is reliant on these externals. Now what we perceive is, oh, well, if something is going to threaten that external thing, then I perceive that as a threat, and then I'm stressed. And we all know what that feels like. Then I'm in fear, I'm stressed, I'm resisting what is, even if it hasn't happened. I'm just thinking about it. And so it's just a perception of some form of external threat, as he says, very succinctly. And that causes an immense amount of unhappiness in people. And it's just perception. It's not reality. It's just what they perceive reality to be. This is a very important point, because it's all about perception rather than about facts. Some people will perceive, say, that image there, would perceive that as threatening. Others would say, well, he's just raising his hand to the sky to wave. So that's a perception. It looks like, you could perceive it as someone threatening you, or you could go, he's just waving at me. Who knows? It's all perceptual. So we've looked at what is the cause of unhappiness. So let's flip it and look at what is the key to happiness. And the key to happiness is inner peace. Mental health is inner peace. It enables you to remain unshaken by lack of love from without, capable through your own miracles of correcting the external conditions which proceed from lack of love in others. So it's primarily, all unhappiness comes down to a lack of love. Lack of love disturbs our peace, and then we are mentally ill. If we reverse that and we restore our minds to love, we experience peace, we experience happiness, we experience joy as kind of natural side effects of that. And then we have a correction or a miracle of our previously flawed, faulty condition. And that's really what a miracle is. It's a correction in your mindset. Sometimes that can lead to external effects, which can seem to be extraordinary, miraculous, or sometimes it's just a change of mind, and you just suddenly feel okay about things. We've all had that experience, haven't we? At some point, you're really stressed, and then you just kind of let it go, and then it's like, actually, it's okay. And then usually circumstances change to reflect that, have you noticed? And that's kind of what we're talking about. So it's actually nothing particularly amazing. A miracle isn't some otherworldly, extraordinary feat like walking on water, turning water into wine. These are the biblical miracles we're all familiar with. It's actually just a happy, peaceful state of mind, and the ability to correct yourself when you're not in that state. Because often we do come out of that state. Life is challenging. Things happen, and then you find yourself now getting stressed, getting upset, getting angry, getting fearful, getting anxious. And then what's needed is a correction, which is what a miracle is. So happiness really isn't a goal in itself. Happiness is a byproduct of just sitting down quietly, as we just did half an hour ago, and allowing this feeling to arise that we call happiness. So I love this quote: happiness is a butterfly, which when pursued is always just beyond your grasp, but which if you will sit down quietly may come and alight on you. So don't seek it. The more you seek it, the more elusive it is. Just like about butterfly catching. You go and chasing butterflies. What are the butterflies going to do? They run away. And you run it, and maybe you catch one, but it's hard work. If you just sit quietly, they come to you. If you build a garden and you sit quietly in your garden, butterflies will come naturally. So that's the process. Much calmer, quieter, more kind of relaxed approach to life, which works. And the other approach of desiring, stressing, straining, striving, honestly doesn't work. It never worked for me. I don't think it's ever worked for anyone. The reason why the Buddha noted 2,500 years ago, he said, the source of all suffering is desire. You desire happiness. You desire something outside of yourself to make you happy. That's going to make you very unhappy. The more you do that, the more you suffer. Call it dukkha. So he said the way out of that is to let go of your desire. Letting go of your desire allows this elusive thing called happiness just to come and alight on you, just to arise in you without you trying. And I think that's what he understood when he became enlightened. It's like, oh, I've been trying and trying and trying, and when I just let go of trying, then it's there. It was always there. I just didn't know it. That's why in the Zen tradition they say, enlightenment's a joke, because you realize it's always been there. I just been so busy looking for it,
so blind
that I can't find it, because I'm looking outside of myself for it when it's always there. And so that's very comforting to go, it's always there. I can never really lose it, but maybe it's been covered over. Maybe I've just got to go through a process of rediscovering it. So where can you find this authentic happiness? Great quote by a guy called Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who was a professor of psychology and author who coined the term flow, actually. He was the guy who brought the term flow into modern psychology, which isn't a new concept. He just called it something different. It's actually very ancient. It goes back to Taoism, the Tao Te Ching, written about 2,600 years ago. So he was just giving it a modern name, bringing it into modern psychological context. And he said something really interesting. It's one of my favorite quotes on this subject. He said, "To know oneself is the first step toward making flow a part of one's entire life. But just as there is no free lunch in the material economy," we're all familiar with that. You have to work for everything. Nothing comes free. Nothing comes free in the psychic one either. If one is not willing to invest psychic energy in the internal reality of consciousness and instead squanders it in chasing external rewards, exactly what we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes, one loses mastery of one's life and ends up becoming a puppet of circumstances, a victim of external circumstances. So then things don't go well, your rewards aren't there, and then you're very unhappy. Well, I think we probably all experienced that, because you had an expectation that something would make you happy, then your expectation is violated, and now you're unhappy. So essentially, you become a victim of life circumstances, which isn't a very empowering position to be in. Right now, the external world can make you very unhappy. It can put you into extreme fear, panic, depression. And this is, you're giving your power away to circumstances that you have very little control over, which isn't a smart thing to do, as he says. So rather invest psychic energy in the internal reality of consciousness. He means go within and find something within that is beyond the external rewards. And this we would call spiritual, the soul, the spirit, whatever you want to call it, that there's something deeper in all of our minds that is waiting to be discovered. But we'll never discover it if we keep looking for it outside of ourselves, because it's not outside of us. It's within us. So the truth is that then, to boil it down to a very, very simple principle, happiness often relies on just one character trait, and that is self-discipline. You need to have the self-discipline to look within, to ignore all these external distractions, to not go seeking outside of yourself, which is what the world wants you to do, and start looking within. And practices like this lady's doing a plank position, that's yoga. I've just done a yoga class, breathing, meditation. These kinds of things help you to look within instead of without. They're more contemplative, they take you within. You're not seeking anything outside of yourself when you're doing them. So they help to train your mind to have the discipline necessary to then allow happiness to start arising. If you learn to control your mind, then happiness comes. If your mind is out of control, your mind is chaotic, then forget happiness. You're never going to be happy because your mind is filled with all kinds of chaotic thoughts, a lot of which are going to be unhappy, negative thoughts that negate. That's why it's called negative. They negate your happiness. They negate your wealth, your true wealth, which is inside your happiness, your health, your well-being. So you might say, ask the question, self-discipline to do what? Well, it's to let go of any negative thought or emotion. And I hyphenate that because if you notice that thought leads to an emotion, emotion leads to more thought. And if you get caught up in a negative spiral of that, thoughts and emotion just kind of become a whirlpool and they just suck you in. It's very difficult then to distinguish what's what. It's just a maelstrom of thought, emotion. So when that arises, can you have the awareness of that, okay, this is a negative thought, I'm identifying it, and this isn't helpful, this isn't serving me, so I can let it go. And it really comes down to, it's as simple as that. That is the one essential skill that I promised to share with you. That's the one essential skill. Can you let go of any negative thought or emotion when it arises so you can experience authentic happiness? We've discussed that. What does that mean? Well, let's look at some fundamental premises on which this is based. Happiness or unhappiness is always experienced in your own mind. Nothing outside of you really makes you happy or unhappy. It's your perception of it that makes you happy or unhappy. Something can make someone very unhappy, and someone can perceive the very same thing, and they can have a completely different perception. We've all had that experience. I'll share an experience I had. I was watching a movie called Indecent Proposal. Do you remember it?
Gosh,
Years ago, 1990. Robert Redford, Demi Moore, Woody Harrelson.
Oh, Indecent.
Great movie. And so there's a scene towards the end of the movie where Woody Harrelson is, he's now thinks he's lost his love, his wife, to this billionaire, Robert Redford, and he's passed out because he's been drinking too much. Robert Redford's sort of man, sec 2IC, his kind of man about town, goes into his house and he sees this picture photo of the two of them torn in the middle and then sticky taped back together, and he smiles. So I interpret that as, okay, he's just understanding. It's like I understand what this guy's gone through. The torment. My friend who was watching, who a year later wasn't my friend, we fell out. But it was interesting because he had a completely different perception of it. And his perception was that guy was he said to me, "Oh, that guy was such an asshole." And I said, "Why do you say that?" He said, "Because he was laughing at it. He was like mocking him." I said, "No, he was it was a smile of understanding. He was actually empathizing with him." But it's the same thing. We both watched the identical scene, but you see it differently. His perception was like, okay, it's an unhappy one. My perception was actually he's being quite empathetic and compassionate to the guy. So it's happiness or unhappiness in the same situation, just depending on how you want to perceive it. And so there's one example. There's many examples of that. So the truth is that only your own negative, and I'll say it in that way because they negate your happiness, your health, your well-being. Only those negative thoughts and feelings can make you unhappy. It's not the external situation that makes you unhappy. It's your thoughts and your feelings about it that make you unhappy. This is such an important insight. In fact, this is probably the key insight of every great spiritual teacher and teaching. If you can understand this from tonight's presentation and you can start implementing in your life, it makes a world of difference because you're no longer the victim of your circumstances anymore. You're like, okay, well, yes, that would have made me unhappy before, but I don't have to perceive it that way. In fact, I could perceive it as a blessing if I wanted to. So I tend to look at adversity and I go, okay, so what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? How is this helping me to let go of something in me that's negative that I can now be aware of and drop and let go and free myself from it? So different perception. Someone else might be really unhappy. I go, okay, this is a learning experience. And, this is what every great teacher, master who's ever walked the planet has said. Adversity serves you if you know how to perceive it correctly. So therefore, conclusion of those two premises. If those two premises are true, then learning how to let go of your negative thoughts and emotions must be the key to your happiness. Okay, that's a logical conclusion. If one holds and two holds, then the third conclusion must also hold. Now you might say, well, happiness isn't experienced in my own mind, but then where's it being experienced? Who's experiencing it? You are. Who's having those thoughts and feelings? You are. It's almost the self-evident truth. And only your own thoughts about whatever it is you're thinking about are making you unhappy. So it may not be a positive situation as you judge it, but who are you to say? How do you know? How do you know? I'll give you an example of that. So there's a war going on in the Middle East, and that's on one level terrible, but that also creates opportunity. So in my business in commodity trading, that means it spiked prices. It means there's now an opportunity to potentially do deals that you couldn't have done before. So just depending on how you want to see it, do you see the glass half full or half empty? That's really what this is saying. Okay, so none of this is rocket science. None of this is maybe new to you, but I want to make it very explicit in this masterclass because it's overlooked. This is a very simple principle. It's overlooked, and that's probably the reason why most people aren't happy because they're overlooking this fundamental principle. They think that something outside of themselves is still going to make them happy, and that's the error. So that's key benefit one. I promised to share the 5 key benefits of this one essential skill. Key benefit one is actually authentic happiness. It's not a fake happiness. It's not coming and going. It's not like I'm happy for a day or two or a week. This is something that lasts, that stays with you through thick and through health, through disease, in old age, until you die. That there's something in you that is able to be happy no matter what is happening externally. But this is a skill that you need to learn. Learning to let go is the skill that will give you this benefit of authentic happiness. Then moving on. So if you've got this authentic happiness, it's like a foundation. If you can let go of these negative thought emotions quickly, then what's going to happen? You're going to feel calm. You're going to feel poised. You're going to feel able to enjoy each moment. And you can take positive, effective action to respond to any situation appropriately. Okay, so I'll give you an example of this from my own life. Just very recently, yesterday, I was booking a car hire in Cape Town because I'm going for a trip. I need a car to drive out to McGregor, and I booked it online. All looked good, but then I get the confirmation, and it's saying to me, "No, sorry, you can't do this without a credit card." I don't use credit cards. I live in the UK, don't really have a credit rating, so I just use debit cards. I've never had a problem, but they're saying you need a credit card. So I'm like, okay, right, I've paid this. Now what? So then I phone the company. I want to cancel. They say no, so it's too late. It's 48 hours, but I booked it like 46, 45 hours before. So first of all, I said to the guy, right, I want to speak to your supervisor. I had to be a bit firm. And then he said, okay, eventually relented. I'll speak to my supervisor. I went away. I had a moment and I just went, okay. So forget all the angst, forget the conflict. There's a way that this can resolve calmly, peacefully. And I just opened to that. I went, show me. Show me. It was just maybe 10 seconds, 30 seconds, a moment. And then I had a sense like, okay, it's done. It's going to be okay. And then immediately he comes back and says, right, so I've just spoken to my supervisor, and actually she's approved this. She's going to make an exception for you, and we'll do the refund. And within 20 minutes, I had the money reversed back to my card. So there's an example of exactly this in action. I could have been freaking out and getting really angry and stressed and swearing at the guy. I had to be firm, but I was nevertheless respectful. I said, look, I want to speak to your supervisor. I don't care what the rules are because this isn't fair and I'm an unhappy customer. So, I had to stand, say, look, I'm worth this. One, and then also just find peace in the situation instead of conflict. And then a positive effective action and outcome came from that situation. And, that was very beneficial. So you could call that a miracle. It's nothing like spectacular, but, it was a little miracle. And I acknowledge this. I go, okay, I noticed that. Thank you. That because again, this principle worked. It served me well. And so the more you get these little miracles, the more you learn that this works and the more you're going to do it. That's the idea. And without that positive reinforcement from your experiences, it would be almost impossible to learn this. You need the positive reinforcement to teach you. So this is what I call flow, what Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi called flow, where things just kind of happen. Today, I'll give you another example because I had a particularly good day today. I had lots to do. I had to go to Home Affairs to get an unabridged birth certificate. I had to go to a dentist appointment. I had to go get my hair cut. And I had a business meeting, which I had during my haircut. And I got yoga done. And that all happened in the space of a few hours. And I'm Ubering around Johannesburg. Now, that could be gone stressful, could have all gone pear-shaped because, I have to be that was like quite a tight schedule. But I just went, okay, just show me, like whatever needs to happen will happen. It all just kind of flowed. And now I'm doing a masterclass and um, life can be pretty easy, if you just allow it to be. And that's really the principle of flow. When things feel easy, it's flow. When things feel hard and stressful, you're out of flow. So as simple as that. And then you've got to go back to first principles and say, okay, what am I holding on to? Yeah, what am I not letting go of? Because I've lost that authentic happiness, and I can't find flow unless that's present, that foundational level of happiness and peace. So again, example, case study of Jesus and the adulteress. It's quite a famous event in the Bible, if you know your Bible history. So what happened was there's this adulteress who apparently was caught in the act of adultery. The mind boggles how they did that, but Pharisees and Sadducees, I guess that's what they did. They had nothing better to do, so we're going to go, peeping into people's bedroom windows. They can't catch her in the act of adultery. They're like, great, well, let's hatch a plan. We're going to trick this teacher who we don't like. So they come to him and they say, teacher, this woman's been caught in the act of adultery. The law of Moses says she should be stoned to death. But what do you say? And they want him to say, no, either yes, in which case they're going to stone her to death, or no, in which case they say, well, you also blaspheming, so let's stone you to death as well. It's pretty brutal justice in those days. So pretty tricky situation. Could have got violent. He could have been hurt or killed. She could have been hurt or killed. And he goes down on his haunches and he just draws something in the sand. You're like, what was he doing? What was he doing? He's giving himself time to just compose himself, to go, okay, so probably just going, right, just breathe, take a moment. I don't have to respond straight away. Pause, let the guidance come. And then he comes up with this beautiful one-liner, let he who has never sinned cast the first stone. And that just floors everyone. No one knows what to say. Because everyone's like, yeah, well, I know I've done bad things. I know I've sinned. So who am I to cast the first stone? And they all drop their stones. They walk away. And there's only him and that adulteress left. And she says, uh, what should I do? He said, well, go and sin no more. Everyone's left. There's no one left to condemn you. Go and sin no more. Lovely story, but what's missing in most of the accounts of it is the presence of mind, the state of flow that he's in to do that, because that's a very, very risky, tricky situation, and he's handled that with cool, calm, collected aplomb because he's present, because he's able to let go of fear and anxiety and just go, okay, well, show me. And he didn't allow himself to be rushed. So to go back to flow, what is flow? And this is probably the best definition I've found of it. So when we act freely for the sake of the action itself, rather than for ulterior motives, that we learn to become more than what we thought we were. It's a very profound quote, so I'll go through it again. We act freely, okay? So there's no ulterior motive. I'm not going, I'm doing this because I want this outcome. That's the ego. That's our ego mind saying, right, I do this and then I get this and then I get this. And if I don't get the result, then I'm not going to do it. We all know how that works. We've seen that in action. We've probably done it ourselves. We've seen how it works in the world. It's not very pleasant, right? It's a kind of genuine giving there. Rather, he's saying, don't do it for ulterior motives. Do it because it feels good to do it in the moment. So there's a picture, I assume, of a daughter and her father just playing for the sake of playing. There's no like, oh, I want an outcome from this. It's just having fun, just the joy of being, just happiness. So that's what he means by no ulterior motive. And then, most importantly, we learn to become more than what we thought we were. So we actually learn who we are in this process, which all the great teachers and teachings are saying that's the goal. That's why you're here, to learn who you are. So we become more than what we thought we were, this limited person who's desiring things outside of them, fearing that the desires and expectations aren't going to be met, always looking for this ulterior motive, always with an agenda. All of that just drops. And suddenly we become natural, peaceful, calm, flowing, and we enjoy our lives a lot more, and we're much nicer people to be around. We're much more giving, much calmer, more peaceful, more giving, because we don't have all these ulterior motives going on. That is the best definition of flow that I've found. And if you actually lived that in this way, you would start to discover more and more who you really are. You become more and more authentic. So it starts with that authentic happiness. What's the key to higher purpose and ecstatic well-being? Well, authentic happiness. Then you flow in every aspect of your life. So if you don't flow in every aspect of your life, then there's work to do still. And that's okay. I had a couple of moments on my holiday when I wasn't in flow, and that's okay. Just notice it and go, all right, I'm noticing it, but I can correct it, I can let it go, and I can get myself back into flow. And that's exactly what we're teaching in the art of letting go. But if you're authentically happy, you flow in every aspect of your life, you have a healthy, meaningful, extraordinary, ordinary life filled with miraculous experiences and results, then this is what we call success. Right? What more can you want? You're healthy, you're happy, you're in flow. Your meaning comes from your life experiences. You're not looking for it anywhere outside of yourself. It's just, I'm happy as I am. And from that state of happiness, I can enjoy my life. And if there's a challenge, I can let it go and I can find a way. There's always a way around it. You don't have to get stuck in the negativity and in the block. So this means that you're living what I'd call an extraordinary, ordinary life. So today wasn't anything extraordinary. I didn't walk on water. I didn't heal the sick. I didn't raise the dead. But nevertheless, it was a positive, happy, flowing day. And this is what it means to be extraordinary, ordinary. Because most people don't do that. Most people are not positive, happy, flowing all the time. Most people live in resistance to life. They're going, this shouldn't be happening. And now I'm unhappy with it. And there's all these little stresses that come into their daily life and their experience. And if you keep doing that over years and years, that has a deleterious effect on your mind, your body, your health and well-being. You age more quickly, and you see it in people's demeanor, their faces, their bodies. Years of negative thinking does have an impact. There's no doubt. So those are key benefits 3 and 4. Higher purpose, an ecstatic sense of well-being. Today, actually, I did the yoga class, and I'm doing some exercises afterwards. And this woman says, "Jesus, I can't believe you just done an hour of hot yoga, and you're still doing that. Like whatever you're smoking, I want some of that." So I said to her, I didn't go into the spiritual stuff, but I just said, well, just put your body into ketosis, which means that I fast 16 hours a day. You start drawing on body fat, instead of relying on glucose energy from cheap carbs, and you have all the energy you need, and you don't get tired and fatigued as much as you. And so, oh, okay, I'll try that. So there you go. And for me, it's nothing extraordinary, but for other people, it's like, okay, this is extraordinary. But it's just like once you get there, it's like not extraordinary. It's just like what you do. I just take it for granted. And we can all do this. It's not like I'm anything special. It's just applying these principles and being disciplined about them. It's just applying these ideas, principles, practicing the techniques in a way that allows you to have this kind of experience of life. And I'm going, it's worth it. It's worth doing it because you get more energy. You feel better. You look better. You just, your life goes to another level. Yeah. And unless you experience that, you can't really understand it. I can talk till the cows come home about it, but you have to experience it yourself to know it, which means that you have to discipline yourself to do what's required to have that experience. It comes back to that self-discipline we talked about earlier. So these are the 4 keys to what I call extraordinary ordinary success, right? Authentic happiness, which leads to, so that comes when you learn how to let go of any negative thoughts or emotions, no matter how challenging the situation, provoking them seems to be, right? Which isn't easy. We know that's not easy, but it's a skill you can learn. And you can practice it. And the beauty of life is it's going to give you lots of opportunity to practice that, because you are going to get difficulties and stresses and strains coming up. And anyone who tells you otherwise, it's not true. You're going to get difficulties. Just look at what's happened in the Middle East. It's like, okay, all hell breaks loose. No one was expecting that. And, suddenly massive amounts of difficulty, challenge for millions of people. And, the only way out of it is letting go. In fact, letting go is the answer to that whole Middle East situation. If all parties could just let go and say, this is ridiculous, what are we doing? Fighting, killing each other, then there wouldn't be an argument. There wouldn't be but we can't let go. We all have our egos, mindsets, and it's like, no, I'm right, you're wrong, and now we're going to go and bomb you. It's very primitive, actually. It's quite tragically primitive that humanity still does that, but we're led by leaders who still do that, who don't understand this stuff, which is a great shame. But hopefully we're evolving. It's all part of a process, and slowly, but surely, the hard way we learn. The key to fulfilling flow, benefit 2. So this is how to remain poised and enjoy the moment while taking positive, effective action to respond to any situation appropriately, as some of the situations, Jesus' example, some of the examples I shared in my own life in the last couple of days illustrate that. And then the key to higher purpose and ecstatic well-being, how to be happy and in flow in every aspect of your life and live a healthy, meaningful, extraordinary, ordinary life filled with miraculous experiences and results. So you'll know how to do all of this. These are the benefits of letting go. And it doesn't come overnight. It's a process. It can take years. I'm not promising like instant, oh, you'll just get all of it. I've been working at this stuff my entire life, I guess, but pretty systematically in quite a disciplined way for 25 years, probably going on 30 years. And, I'm still learning. I still make mistakes and still learning. But there's no doubt that I have much more understanding and a much greater mastery of this stuff than I did 25 years ago. Because, if you practice it and you make an effort at something for 25 years, then it's logical that you'll start to develop mastery. They say to master anything, you need 10,000 hours minimum of dedicated practice. So, this is something that you can practice all day, every day. You're doing this all the time. So every day can be 8, 10, 12 hours of practicing, living in this way. So your life becomes your practice. That's the idea. So key benefit 5 is this extraordinary, ordinary success. If you have authentic happiness, you're in flow, you have a sense of higher purpose and well-being. Well, to me, that looks like success. I don't know about you. And your bank balance and material things might follow, but that's not really what defines you. It's these states of mind that define you, and then as within, so without. Well, your external circumstances tend to reflect that in time. Sometimes there's a lag time; doesn't always happen immediately, But that's then your test. You need to be patient. You need to keep showing up and keep doing what you need to do, i.e., letting go of your negative thoughts and emotions, and trusting the process. So Jesus, or Yeshua, as I prefer to call him, another quote from the Bible, John 10:10: "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly." A very common, commonly quoted verse from the Bible. What does that abundant life really mean? He wasn't talking about material wealth. He was talking about the inner connection with your source. He was talking about happiness and peace and love and joy and being in flow. That's what he meant by an abundant life. And he said, you'll be provided for. He didn't say you're gonna not have what you need materially. He just said, don't make that the be all and the end all of things. It should be an effect rather than a cause of your happiness. So just get that in your mind. It's the effect. It's not the cause. You don't look to anything external for your happiness. You find your happiness and your peace and your flow and your purpose, and then it comes because your mindset tends to create that. Not just mind, you're also acting, you're behaving, you're acting consistently in integrous ways, and then that leads to these kinds of things starting to happen and manifest for you over time. Again, so it might take months, it might take years. You have to be patient and realize that really the whole point of it is you learning who you are in this process. So whatever the material effects are, doesn't really matter. It's a journey of self-discovery, which is the most important thing. And that gives you a very, very different attitude to success. It's not about external now. It's about am I mastering my own thoughts and emotions? Am I letting go of all the negative thoughts and emotions that I don't want? Am I discovering who I really am? That's success. Simple as that. And then the externals follow from that. Whatever you need, you'll have. He said, trust your father. He provides for the birds and the bees and the sparrows, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's all going to be provided. You'll have whatever you need. That this is the abundant life that we're talking about. So, yeah. So letting go then leads to authentic happiness, then leads to a sense of fulfilling flow and a sense of higher purpose, ecstatic well-being, true success, and an abundant life. So there's the process. But it all starts with letting go. If you don't let go, then there's no happiness, there's no flow, there's no higher purpose, ecstatic well-being, true success, and abundant life. You just kind of grind your way through life, which isn't a happy experience. And there are people who achieve success by really working hard. They grind, they stress, but that doesn't sustain. That usually something happens. They burn out, health. They have a health crisis, financial crisis, whatever. And often they have to go back to first principles and learn to find that happiness within them. It was just as Marisa Pierce was teaching her clients. They'd done all of this, they burned out, just to teach them to go back and say, find happiness within you, no matter what's going on outside of you. Go back to first principles, in other words. So the question then becomes, how can I learn to let go and find my flow in life, right? So the principles are all great. Hopefully you agree with those. What's very difficult to disagree with them when it's stated this clearly and logically. But that's not enough. Information isn't enough. Maybe you've heard this information before, or similar information. It's a necessary. If you don't know this, then how can you ever practice it? But it's not a sufficient step for a true transformation of mind to happen. There are two ways to such a true transformation. Number one, first way is what I call the way of the cross. It's through intense pain and suffering. You're forced to go within and break through suddenly to a new level of understanding and wisdom. So that's a painful way. It can work, but there's nothing particularly systematic about this. You might just end up suffering for years and years and never break through. If you're familiar with a guy called Eckhart Tolle, well-known spiritual teacher, wrote The Power of Now and A New Earth. This was his path, right? Very unhappy child, adolescent, and man until he's 29. He's just saying, I just can't stand life anymore. I basically want to end it. But the intensity of his suffering is so great that it kind of something breaks open, and he goes like, and he realized in that moment that there's two selves. There's a self that can't stand the other self. But I can't stand my life. Well, who is the I that can't stand my life? And he just passed out, and then the next day wakes up and is like, wow, life's transformed. I'm seeing everything anew, and I'm seeing, everything peacefully. And he took 20 years to integrate all that, and then wrote his book, and is now one of the world's best known spiritual teachers. But he did it through initially 29 years of pain and suffering. Now, I think we all do this to a point, but does it need to be intense? Do you need to really? No, you don't. Just a little bit of negativity, a little bit of pain, a little bit of suffering. You can go, okay, I don't want this. I'm willing to let it go. And that's where the second path comes in. Through conscious discipline, practice of spiritual ideas and techniques, you systematically grow in understanding and wisdom. And that's the way of mastery. So you go, okay, I can learn this. I can practice this. That empowers me. I don't have to wait to go through such intense pain and suffering that I'm going to have some kind of breakthrough because I'm just on my knees. A little bit of negativity, I can notice that. I can practice letting go of it using these ideas and some of the techniques that I've already shared, and I'll share just now. And you systematically and progressively grow in understanding wisdom. A much better idea, I think. A much better way. The way of mastery, because now the power is in your hands. You can do something about anything. You can change your mind. You can take control essentially of your life, and it's the only way you will take control of your life. So the principles of transformation through mastery are understanding realization through personal experience. Okay, it has to happen in your own personal experience. If you just read a book, if you study, you know the theory, but you don't know the practice. This is the difference between Jesus and the Pharisees and Sadducees. They didn't have the personal experience. They knew the scriptures, they knew the law, but they didn't feel it. They didn't connect with it in the same way. And some of them, like Nicodemus, understood that and went, I can learn something from this guy. Others went, actually, he's showing us how unenlightened we are, and we just want to kill him, which of course they eventually did. It requires your active willingness and disciplined effort. So it doesn't come without some willingness, doesn't come without effort, but that effort is worth it because the rewards are huge. Doing key spiritual practices, or KSPs as I call them, regularly is essential. Because how are you going to do the willingness and the disciplined effort? Well, that's where the spiritual practices come in. Like the breathing we did, that's a spiritual practice. Meditation, spiritual practice. Fasting, I mentioned that, spiritual practice. Or all these things really help. And this can also be greatly facilitated by another person or a group who help to raise the initiate's consciousness by transmitting positive energy and holding him or her accountable. So just in this session, we're not, Margaret, you here, but Harold Rams, you're not here, but there's an energy transmission going on, and you're probably sensing that. Maybe you're feeling more peaceful, more calm, more energized, more inspired than you did an hour ago before this. So we all know that, other people's energy affects us, and it transmits through as well at distance through an online mechanism as if you're in person. And then immersion in these key spiritual practices in this positive field of consciousness that's created greatly accelerates it. So the more time you spend around positive people, the more time you spend doing spiritual practices, the more it becomes a field of energy. And this my understanding is this is how Jesus did his miracles. It's a field of incredibly positive consciousness, loving awareness, and people enter the field, and then all kinds of stuff just drops away. They let go, and then miracles happen. Amazing physical changes happen because of the field that they're immersed in. So all these principles, exist. They're tried and tested. They're proven in many spiritual traditions, and it's just about whether you're going to use them or not. Right. So immersion is a very key point. So some people just dip in and say, well, I do a little bit of meditation every now and then, but there's no immersion. So if you can actually immerse yourself in something for a period of time, you greatly accelerate your progress. There's no doubt. I mean, you'll know if you've ever done a course on like a cooking course, and you do an immersive cooking course for 6 weeks. You'll learn a lot more than if you just do little bits of okay, well I'll watch a YouTube video here and there, and you or a language. Go to France if you want to learn French. Immerse yourself in 3 months. You probably learn French. Whereas if you didn't immerse yourself, you might spend years and you still really haven't learned the language. So that's that principle. So there are 7 key spiritual practices to help you let go of negativity, which I'll mention here. And these, as you can see on the right there, are related to the ancient yogic principles. So I'll just relate it to that. Yeah, key spiritual practices. So breathwork techniques, you already experienced one of those. That just simple diaphragmatic breathing is a breathwork technique. That involves in the yogic system, asana, which is your posture. So I said sit comfortably, back straight, that's posture. Pranayama, which is your breath control. And pratyahara is withdrawal of the senses. I said, okay, just close your eyes, withdraw the senses from the external world, go within, and focus on what's going on in your mind and in your emotions. So the second key spiritual practice is what I call multidimensional meditation. So that would be meditation that has breath work, some mind training, maybe affirmations, visualization. Sometimes I incorporate colors, and all of those things help you to focus your attention in the present. That's what all these practices and these techniques do. So that's everything in one: asana, pranayama, pratyahara, as well as dharana and dhyana. Dharana is a initial form of meditation where you learn to focus your attention. So like what you did earlier, that's just a bit of dharana. You're focusing your attention on the breath, and that focuses your attention, and you're not thinking as many scattered thoughts. You're not thinking about the past or the future, hopefully. And if you practice that regularly enough, you start going into a deeper form of meditation called dhyana, which is a kind of deep contemplative meditation where actually the external world fades largely. You're not really aware of that, and you just in your own awareness, and that can be really deeply peaceful, restful, and even blissful. Some of the great yogis and masters talk about this state of meditative bliss, but I understood that came from a lifetime of spiritual practice. It doesn't just happen; it's a process, which is why these there's 7, actually 8 limbs to yoga, because it's an ongoing process. Then forgiveness, or what I call letting go, because forgiveness I think is a word that's not that well understood. And what does that actually mean? Most people don't know how to do it. But if you say to someone, just let it go, it's much more understandable. Let go of that attachment, let go of that negative thought. Okay, I kind of get what you mean here. So, but it's the same thing. So in the yogic tradition, it's yama, niyama. So these are things that you choose to practice. So maybe it's a healthy practice like, brushing your teeth, or tongue scraping or something like that. And the niyamas are the things that you avoid. You say, okay, I'm not going to smoke, I'm not going to drink, I'm going to avoid food, I'm going to fast, let's say, for 16 hours a day, and so on. These are all forms of letting go, because you're letting go of your attachment to these things. And then pratyahara, again, you're withdrawing the senses. So instead of being obsessed with sense pleasure and saying, I just need food, or I need to consume a substance, I need to watch TV, I need that external sensation. It's like, no, I'm withdrawing the senses from all that, and I'm just going within. And breathwork and meditation facilitate that. Group discussion sessions. So this kind of, it's more of a presentation, but if you really get into discussion, it can be fascinating. As we know, we had that great discussion, didn't we, Margaret, a couple of weeks ago, and it was really, really engaging, interesting. The art of engaging conversation, which I think is being lost largely because people just want to watch TV. But it's fascinating when you have an interesting conversation or discussion. It really engages you, and it connects you with other people, which is probably the most important part. And reading and listening to spiritual texts. So that's part of niyama is svadhyaya, which which is just this idea that you're going to discuss, you're going to learn, you're going to study, and start to practice these principles. The whole idea is don't just become an academic and do this in theory. Actually apply these things to your life. And then fasting, abstinence, I already talked about that. So that's not just food, that might be abstaining from unhealthy habits like smoking, drinking, too much TV, shopping, surfing the internet, porn, all these kinds of things that we know aren't really good for us, but we indulge in them because the ego says, well, this is good for you and it's going to give you a quick fix. And actually, it never does. That kind of quick fix happiness never lasts. It fades very quickly. So just starting to abstain from all of that really, really helps. And that's again yama and niyama. You're practicing certain things and you're abstaining from certain things that are not good for you. Yama and niyama are the two first limbs of yoga. Because let's just start with the basics. If you I'll give you an example. So a lady came on one of my retreats once, and she was 4 days out of a rehab unit. She was a coke addict. And I went, whoa, okay, I didn't know this, but all right, we'll give it a go. There was no way she was in a fit state to do that retreat because she was all over the place. You're highly addicted to the substance, and just a basic okay, just doing some breathing. She was like, whoa, this is kind of freaky. Just basic breathing, So that's the level she was at, and she just couldn't. And the next day she ran away. She was like, I can't do this. Well, and so it was a good lesson for me because I'm like, you're not ready for this. I can't actually help you because you need to go into your rehab unit, and there they have, this is why addicts have rehab units because you can't just go, oh, we'll just do some breathing. They're highly addicted and very, very difficult to break those addictions, which is why you need, sort of special rehab places and treatments and so on. Anyway, moving swiftly on, end of day reflections. That's the seventh one. That incorporates asanas, pranayama. So that's the posture, the breathing control, pratyahara, and a form of dharana. So just by focusing, by reflecting on something, you're focusing, saying, okay, so let me reflect on my day. There's 4 questions that you ask and you answer. And you say, okay, so what did I learn today? How could I have done if I made a mistake, how could I have done it better? How does that serve me? And what am I grateful for? Very simple questions, but just asking those questions and answering them is a form of meditation, reflection that helps you to grow and to learn. And so you don't repeat the same mistakes. You learn from, if you go, okay, I did that today. It's a mistake, but at least, I've reflected on it, I've learned from it. And if you repeat it, if you don't learn, then you just keep doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same result, which Einstein defined as insanity. It's the definition of insanity. Just keep doing the same thing. And finally, you get enlightenment or samadhi, number 8. And there's Jesus as an example of that, where all of this stuff is the master has mastered all of this through disciplined, diligent practice, usually for years. And then finally it's like, okay, I'm having this, profound, connected, flowing, happy, joyful experience. And, we've seen people like this, like Jesus, the Buddha. There's been these enlightened masters who've graced us with their presence, who've shown us, look, this is how you can live. This is how you could be, but you have to practice. There's a discipline involved. You're not going to do it if your mind is undisciplined and you're not doing these practices, which is why discipline again becomes the key to all of it. Okay, so that brings me to the Art of Letting Go course. Because the question then is, what are you going to do about all this? I've given you hopefully some nice ideas, some good ideas, some theory. How are you going to implement all this? I wouldn't be doing you any kind of service if I just said, right, that's it. It's the end of the masterclass. Off you go and implement it. Because how do you do it? It's not that easy, is it? It's like, okay, I'm going to integrate all this. I'm going to start practicing this. So I put together a course which is over 6 weeks. It's a mind and life transformation process, focusing primarily on the mind, training the mind, using various spiritual practices to transform your life. And it's inside out. You must transform your mind before you can transform your life. Based on the principles that I've shared, the way of mastery, principles of yoga, immersion learning, all of that's integrated into the course. It incorporates 7 key spiritual practices, or KSPs, and therefore the 7 limbs of yoga. So this is yoga, but yoga probably, if you've never seen it before, because I don't really call it yoga, but I'm just telling you that is the foundation, one of the foundations of it. And yoga is possibly the most ancient spiritual practice and path. It goes back thousands and thousands of years, um, coming from India, as we know. So these key spiritual practices include live and recorded daily online meditations, something like you experienced just now, but sometimes they can go on for 20 minutes or half an hour. Discussion sessions where we discuss some of these ideas, principles. You get to ask questions. It's interactive. There's a group, so it's not just me. There's other people who share their insights, their learning, their understanding, and that whole positive field of consciousness starts developing, which really helps you to facilitate your own growth. There's a 2-week breathwork course included in there. I'm actually flying down to Cape Town tomorrow to finish that, finish the recording. So that's going to be produced, I'm hoping, in the next couple of weeks, and I'll share it with you in the course. As part of it, it's going to be its own course as well, but it's part of the Art of Letting Go course. Self-study, solo meditation, all of these things are part of these the key spiritual practices. They're going to really help you to immerse yourself in these teachings and learn the art of letting go. And the goal really is to help you to learn to let go of fearful, stressful thoughts and emotions whenever they arise, so you can start consistently experiencing, no surprise here, the key benefits I've already talked about, right? Authentic happiness. You will know at the end of the 6 weeks, you do that 6 weeks, you'll know how to let go of any negative thoughts or emotions, no matter how challenging the situation, provoking them appears to be, and choose to be happy instead. Little case study. Guy called Phil Funny, he ever did a course, the first course that I ran actually, which was a beta course. And he said he'd learned in the last 6 weeks more about the course. He meant A Course in Miracles in the last 27 years of studying it. And his key benefit was learning how to forgive truly. Given that he'd been studying for double the length of time I had, that was a great compliment. He was 80 at the time, and I was like under a bit of pressure. I'm like, okay, this guy's like double my age. He's got double the experience. So it's probably the best compliment I've ever had. Just to talk a little bit more about so let me just mention his experience. He had a cathartic experience. The end of the course. This was the last day of the course. The day before, we'd done something called holotropic breathing, and the next day kind of did it again. And he'd been holding something against his parents, particularly his mother, which wasn't really justified, but it was a grievance nevertheless. And he just kind of thought, well, they're not quite good enough for me. Wanted my parents to be different from what they were. And he'd held this his entire life. He's then 80. And so he had just some kind of like breakthrough where he realized that this was crazy and that he'd been really unfair, that actually they were very good people. They'd been amazing to him, and, that he was just able to let go of it and forgive himself and ask my parents for their forgiveness. I mean, carrying this baggage around all my life at a huge cost. So these kinds of epiphanies can happen. I can't promise because you just never know. But there was no doubt that that happened, not just as a result of one process, the holotropic breathing, which I'll talk a bit more about later, but it happened as a result of the whole 6 weeks.
Yes.
And then that was the final tipping point. And then that was obviously ready to kind of come up and be released. Yeah. And some other people said this lady was actually a Course in Miracles teacher herself. She said the course helped her to see her subconscious patterns that stopped me from doing things in my life that are good for me, like yoga, meditating, all the things we talked about. that revelation has been huge. I'm very grateful that I did your course. It's given me a great deal to think about. The letting go process is taught in the Art of Letting Go course. Makes forgiveness seem so simple. Again, great compliments. Like if you can make something simple, yes. You can make the complex simple. That's really the art of good teaching. Okay. So that's what I try and do. I try and break it down, make it really simple. This course, given I've mentioned A Course in Miracles, I should probably just explain what it is. What is A Course in Miracles? Have you ever heard of it? No. Rams, have you ever heard of it? No. I'll assume you haven't. So it's a book, as you can see in the picture. Yes. It's quite a big, thick book. It's got a text of 670 pages explaining in detail principles and philosophy in which the course is based. So a lot of people get a bit freaked out by that because it's quite a tome. But actually the principles are really, really simple. This isn't rocket science. It's not actually that difficult if you understand it and if you guide it through it. A lot of people struggle because they don't have the guidance, they don't understand it, the language is quite high English, and they just go like, this is too much for me. Fortunately, there's also a workbook, which is made up of 365 daily lessons, which is a bit easier to work through and understand. The idea is you just practice it daily. There's little mind training exercises designed to systematically train your mind how to let go of its negativity and allow you to live in a miraculous state of mind or flow. And then finally a manual for teachers, which is about 92 pages, which is kind of like an FAQ. So it's classic course. You've got a theory, you've got a workbook with practical exercise, and you've got an FAQ, additional guidance, clarification of terms in a Q&A format. More than that, more than just a book, some of the background to it, it was transmitted to an American professor of psychology named Helen Schuckman in New York City, of all places, not the most spiritual place on earth. You've ever been there? And the inhabitants are renowned for their rudeness. So interesting that it was chosen to be given there. Well, I guess that's where it's needed most. So the light comes into the darkness where it's most dark. Between 1965 and 72, and then it was finally transcribed and published in 1976 in 3 volumes. What is it? It's a systematic mind training course to teach you a radically different way of thinking about and perceiving everything from a non-dual perspective. One of the co-scribes called it the Christian version of the Vedanta. And it's designed to teach you how to forgive or let go of every false and therefore negative belief, thought, and emotion that causes you and others to suffer. It's a spiritual path that will allow you to live a happy, truly successful, and abundant life, living miraculously on flow and escape this world entirely. Ultimately, what you mentioned. So that's the ultimate goal. But in the meantime, you say, look, you can be happy while you're here. Why not? You know, what else are you going to do? Be unhappy, then what's the point? Be happy over there. Yeah, you've got to learn here. This is where you learn your lessons. Yes. So it's all of those things. Very, very profound teaching. In my view, it's the greatest book ever written. What's the book? It's called A Course in Miracles. Okay. Some well-known students and teachers of the course. There's Marianne Williamson, who actually ran for president a few years ago. Nelson Mandela, who I don't think directly studied it, but he was actually influenced by Marianne's ideas. He read her book about A Course in Miracles called A Return to Love, and he quoted from it in his first inaugural speech after prison. Really. Yeah, that famous quote, "Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate." So he was profoundly influenced by these ideas, even though he may not have studied the book itself. I don't know, maybe he did. But Marianne who? Marianne Williamson is her name. Oprah Winfrey, who was mentored by Marianne, and we all know, her and Deepak Chopra, also a well-known spiritual teacher. Wayne Dyer, who started to study and teach it in his latter years. Eckhart Tolle, I've heard him actually teaching it on stage with the book. And there's me. Now, I'm not nearly as well known as any of these people, but I do my bit. There I am teaching a breathwork course. And, it's really about the principles are universal. Anyone can learn and teach them. It just requires a willingness. So a little bit about me. I promised to introduce myself, so I'll just go through a quick introduction. That's me as a young man. I was professional squash player. I went to university and then decided to go play professional squash, much to my father's horror. And but I learned a lot through that. And probably my first letting go experience was when I had to let go of my lifelong dream to be a champion, to be the world champion. And I realized that it wasn't going to happen. At 29, it wasn't going to happen. But in hindsight, it's probably one of the best lessons I ever had, because I was letting go of an ego belief. It's like, I'm only going to be happy when I be world champion. Well, that is kind of a recipe for unhappiness, isn't it? Because you have to be the best in the world, and it's very hard to be the best in the world. Certainly not for long. Even if you did achieve that, it's not going to last for very long. A few years if you're lucky, at your peak. So, 29, I had my first major kind of spiritual breakthrough when I had to let go of that, and I realized, well, actually, I'm okay as I am. I don't have to be a champion. I just have to be who I am, and just I can just play this game and enjoy it. And if I win or I lose, it doesn't matter that much. Then I started after that experience. It kind of opened me up, and I started really learning and exploring, and I started teaching this stuff in workshops and retreats. That's me on a retreat in Mozambique with a few people. We used to do dolphin swimming, which was great. I was published by Success University, had a set of 6 CDs, I think. That's one of them, 10 Steps to Overcoming Fear. And then I went over to the UK in 2013. That's my then girlfriend, now wife. I met her. And my life changed, radical change. I moved countries. I had a child, got married, changed careers, all in the space of a year. So a lot of change, kind of went through a bit of a midlife crisis. I was like, what's going on? My life's falling apart. Who am I? What's life really all about? And really, the A Course in Miracles and my spiritual practice pulled me through. I was like, okay. I then realized it's not really about teaching others about this. It's about learning it myself. And this is for me, and that's when I really learned. It took me about 10 years to get to that point. I didn't teach it for several years because I was just dealing with my own difficulties, working through a lot of egoic stuff. And then about 2018, I kind of lost my way a bit spiritually. I wasn't very happy, and I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. I was in the financial industry selling card payment solutions. And my wife sat down and she just said, well, what do you really want to do? I said, I really want to teach this. So I came up with the idea for this course, started putting it out there, ran a beta course, and I've been doing it pretty much continuously for the last 7 years, developing a huge amount of content. And now the next phase of it is to actually get it out there and market it, because I spend so much time on content out and market it, which is probably why there's only well, there were 4 of us earlier. 3 of us still here, but it doesn't matter. That's just been the journey. There I am teaching a breathwork workshop in Shaftesbury, which is where I live. And he's left. Okay, never mind. We'll carry on. So I did a Vipassana meditation retreat. In 2021, where I spent 10 days learning this stuff, learning this breathwork meditation, and there I'm in corporate finance mode, because I have a corporate finance and financial business as well. So yeah, I like to think of myself quite rounded and still learning. First a student, and then second a teacher. So to get back to the key benefits, I'll run through these quickly. Fulfilling flow in your daily life. You'll know how to remain poised and enjoy the moment while taking positive, harmonious action to respond to any situation effectively. My experience playing squash, so I'm going to mention this because actually this was the most profound experience of flow I've ever had. I was playing first league at the time, if you know Chris's experience, first league in Johannesburg. And I was playing against the guy I'd lost to in the in the club champs at Killarney Country Club. It used to be old TAC. And I lost him through love. And I was playing him in a league match. He was in the other side. We had two sides in the first league. And, my ego was like, whoa, you've got to win. It's really important. He's older. He's an older guy. I wasn't a professional. So in my mind, I've just turned fresh. I should be beating him. I should be killing him. But, it's not, doesn't work that way. So a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety. But I went for a walk a couple of hours before, and I just somehow managed to. My sister said, "Look, just relax and enjoy it." And somehow I just managed to let go of all that fear and just really blank my mind. It was just like a blank mind experience. It was very amazing, actually, because I've never had that experience before. I had no plan, I had no strategy. I just played, and I played amazingly. It just happened. I didn't really make any mistakes, and I felt exactly what Eckhart Tolle says here in the quote, if you want to read. Artistic creation, sports, dance, teaching, counseling, mastery in any field of endeavor implies that the thinking mind is either no longer involved at all, or at least is taking second place. Power and intelligence greater than you, and yet one with you in essence takes over. There is no decision-making process anymore. Spontaneous right action happens, and you, quote, you are not doing it. Mastery of life is the opposite of control. You become aligned with the greater consciousness. It acts, speaks, and does the works. And I really, I've had this experience. Yeah. It just happened to me. I wasn't really playing. I was being played, even though, my body was doing the motions. It was just kind of happening. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I'm not even like trying here. It's just happening. It was a very, very profound experience. So a spiritual experience, really, on the squash court, which taught me again about letting go. It's like it was a letting go of fear. Because I let go of the fear, and that fear had been quite intense, the effect of it was very transformational. Key benefit number 3 is higher purpose. You'll start experiencing more happiness and flow in every aspect of your life. Find higher purpose and meaning in all your daily activities. Another little case study for you. This is the Krum and I did the first course I ever ran, which is the beta course. I have to say it's improved quite significantly since then. It was the first one, but he's still got a lot of benefits. So he shared this during one of our sessions. He was playing tennis. He got very attached to the outcome, and things didn't go well. He played badly. He really wanted to win, and then it get worse, and he's making mistakes. And we know tennis is very unforgiving. Hits it out, hits it in the net. And so he started getting upset. He started getting angry. He says, looking back, I should have just taken a few deep breaths and let it go. But he had all these competitive thoughts of winning, importance of performing well. And he said, I struggle with my temper at times. Ego knows how to push my buttons. But he was quite philosophical. So look, there will be defeats along the way, but I mustn't harbor guilt, must forgive the circumstances and stay in the present. So I then shared exactly the experience I just shared with you. I said, look, this is what happened with me. I taught him the breathing that I've shared with you. And I said, look, try it. Next time you go and play tennis, give it a try. And he did, to his credit. He practiced it. And it made a transformational difference. So he kept it all in mind. He centered himself, he breathed, and he experienced peace. He played a lot better, unsurprisingly. His aim was just to take a set, but actually he beat the guy, and he never beaten him before in 3 sets. And most importantly, this is where the flow thing comes in. He realized that it wasn't about competition and winning. It was really about the experience. He was in the flow of it. He really enjoyed it, and he was at peace. So he was learning who he really was. Going back to that flow principle. I experienced God's pleasure in me. He was actually a chaplain in the army, so that's how he that's how I expressed it. I experienced God's pleasure in me that day. I also learned that I can choose to let go of anger, which doesn't work, and be at peace instead. Profound, experience, and then the learning is profound. Like just from that, a tennis match. You go, okay, so what's the big deal about a tennis match? Well, a tennis match can teach you who you are. It can connect you with God. This is the extraordinary ordinary life I'm talking about. Demonstrated. And that's why I'm sharing these case studies, because it just shows you that people have these experiences through doing the course. ecstatic well-being. So you start experiencing more happiness, flow, and even moments of bliss in your extraordinary, ordinary life while being an example to others. And that's when you have that well-being, um, you've known life without well-being, then you appreciate it. It's like, okay, what's it like to be sick and unwell? Not very nice. When you have well-being, you have health and well-being. It's an amazing feeling. And even bliss. So this lady Hazel did one of the courses. She did one of the exercises we do. It's a group exercise where you partner with someone on Zoom because the technology allows that. So you go into a little breakout room in Zoom and you do it like you would, like you would do in a physical retreat. You go and just find a space and the two of you work together. We could duplicate that in Zoom. So that's one of the exercises you'll do if you do the Art of Letting Go course. And this is what she said: I experienced the feeling of expanding energy radiating from my heart center, which I've never experienced before. The energy felt like pure love, which is exhilarating to the point of me being wide awake all night. What a stunning experience, which will stay with me for the rest of my life. So, that might happen. I can't promise that, but it may. It may happen, it can happen if you open up to it. And she really, I wouldn't have said she would be the kind of person who would experience this because she's very mind oriented, but obviously something opened up in her. And it was like, okay, then she had this experience, which was a life-changing experience. And then finally, key benefit 5 is true success. And what that leads to then is an abundant, resilient life. So you've probably heard of resilience. And it's really important that you understand that life is not always going to be, success doesn't always mean everything's going to go well. A lot of the time it doesn't go well. A lot of the time there are challenges. Any successful person will tell you they've had many challenges, but they're resilient. Yes, they learn from them, they grow from them, and they're resilient to life's challenges. They use them as fuel for their growth.
Yes.
And that's really the key, which comes back to foundational principle 1. You're never unhappy for the reason you think. You're unhappy because you misperceive. So your resilience comes from the ability to change your mind and say, okay, it's only my mindset that's the problem here. So I can change my mind. So if you put all this together and you really apply these principles, you live in a state of happiness, you're happy, you're in flow in every aspect of your life. So not just one or two. It's like, no, this universally applicable to your entire life. Full transfer of training, as Jesus calls it. In every aspect of your life, you live an extraordinary, ordinary, meaningful, truly successful and abundant life filled with miraculous experiences and results, no matter what challenges you face. Right? So not to say you won't have challenges, you will, but you flow through them. In fact, the challenges are exactly what you need to grow and to flow. And you realize that. You go, okay, I embrace these now. I don't resist them. I don't go, this shouldn't be happening. I embrace them. And that is what I'd call a truly successful life and a truly abundant life. And and that's what Jesus talked about. There you go. There you have this again famous parable of the man who built his house on the rock and on the sand.
On the sand, yes.
So what does that actually mean? Yeah. What he's talking about here is that the rain, the winds, the floods are symbols of adversity in life. You have adversity. If you have adversity and you don't have a solid foundation, then you fall apart, you crack. You've probably seen it happen to people.
There's going to be more of it.
Yeah,
that's just up with.
That's because the foundational principles, if you don't live those, then your life is based on the sand of time and space, of illusions. And those illusions can never sustain you because they are temporary. Everything is temporary, everything fades away. And when it fades away and you relied on it, then you suffer.
Yes.
Which is what he's saying here. So the rock is the rock of truth, of the foundation of knowing who you really are, of connecting with your source, your creator, and holding that always in your mind so that you never disconnect from that.
Yes.
That's the rock that he's talking about, which is exactly what I'm talking about. It's the same, just the same teachings, just said differently. So this is another little case study. This is the last one I'm going to share. the end of the Art of Letting Go course, Robin, who did, I think, the second one. No, did she do the first one? She did the first one. So she was totally satisfied with the value she got, and she found everything extremely helpful. And this is what she said. Again, just a great one-liner. She said, what I got out of it was peace, less anxiety, I sleep better, I don't take painkillers anymore for stress headaches. So before she was having terrible stress headaches, all of that just disappeared. Better relationships with her children. She just wasn't as frightened, anxious, worried. And all of that is life change. So I'm going to show you a little video of. Let's see if she's. There we go.
Hi, my name's Robin. I did the course last year with Jonathan. I'd never heard of the course before. It was something entirely different to me, although I've been practicing meditation. I've been going to breathworks for some time, trying genuinely to find peace. I'm a mum, I work, I've got a normal busy life. I've been plagued with headaches, I've been plagued with sore necks and the normal problems that people have. I found that through the course and joining the online community, I found a group of like-minded people all exploring the course. The course is fundamentally different.
She's actually talking about a course in miracles here. When she said course, yeah.
It wasn't.
This is the Art of Letting Go course.
And I do believe in God, and it made a great deal of sense in my life that the only thing is really that we concentrate on is God. It's about finding love. It's about being kinder to people. I still listen to the teachings every day. I've found that by listening to the teachings and following the book and reading, I have become more compassionate. I've become a nicer person. I feel less guilty. I feel that the world is a different place. I don't feel that the world is always a good place. It's not. But I believe that it impacts me less. I used to be traumatized by the world. I used to lie awake and worry about things that are happening and my children and my life, and worry about my past and worry about the future. I've found that I've achieved a sense of peace. And if nothing else, I'm really grateful to Jono and the people I met on the course, because that sense of peace has helped me to heal many parts of my life. I no longer have headaches. I used to suffer with headaches. I used to have terrible neck pain that I was on painkillers on all the time. And honestly, those things have gone away. I don't take painkillers for my neck, and I don't have headaches anymore.
Interesting.
My relationships with my children are much better, and my relationship with myself is a lot better. So in all, it's taken a lot of the jagged edges off of life, and it's just made life more bearable. And if you think about it, we're probably going to be here for a long time. So if it continues to get more and more bearable, and as I say, each day I learn a new lesson, and it does make life a little bit different and a little bit better.
Honesty.
Things a little bit more clearly. And that to me has been the biggest gift of the course.
Life could be more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Fulfilling would be nice.
Yeah, more bearable. But
if
if you're in pain and you're suffering, as she was, then it's like, well, I just want a bit of relief from it. So that's where it starts.
You can see where she is. See where she is.
And she did it was life changing for her. She got
wonderful.
Yeah. So a great success story. So just to summarize, these are the key benefits. You'll be authentically happy. You'll know how to let go of any negative thoughts or emotions, no matter how challenging the situation appears to be. Choose to be happy instead. And that is the fundamental thing to learn. That's why it's called the art of letting go.
Yes.
Of course, because that then leads to everything else. So then from the being, you can do your daily activities in a state of flow. You'll know how to remain poised, enjoy the moment, while taking positive, harmonious action to respond to any situation effectively. 3 and 4, you'll experience fulfillment, higher purpose, and well-being. Start experiencing happiness and flow in every aspect of your life and living a truly healthy, purpose-driven, extraordinary, ordinary life that includes moments of bliss and miracles. Finally, key benefit 5, you put all that together, you live a truly successful, abundant, resilient, and inspired life. Consistently experience happiness and flow in every aspect of your life and live a truly successful, abundant, resilient, inspired life filled with miraculous experience and results. Now, that doesn't mean it's always going to be, everything's always going to go well.
No,
but it means that when things don't go well, you know how to deal with it. That's where the resilience comes in. And that's where inspiration comes in. I shared a couple of stories where it's, okay, so things aren't, this isn't working, but can I let it go? Can I open myself to peace and ask for a guidance and a higher solution? And it always comes when you do, often in very unexpected ways.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Very enjoyable.
Yeah. So I'm just going to wrap it up in the next 10, 15 minutes or so. So what does it actually include? The Art of Letting Go course includes meditation. I give you a 1 hour, 40 minutes and 30-minute recorded guided letting go theta meditation, valued at £8, selling for £8, a power sleep track. This is what someone had to say. The morning guided letting go theta meditation has been wonderful, really has brought a lot of value to my life. I love the second part of where you center yourself and smile. Very powerful stuff. That's actually a meditation I use every day. I use my own meditation because I've experimented with various ones, and I'm like, actually, for me, this works. And I'm not the only one who says that. Power sleep track. So I sleep with headphones.
Oh yes, you've seen it.
And I use the power sleep track. It just puts me to sleep within 5 minutes. It's amazing.
What's on there?
It's something called binaural beats. So what binaural beats do is they entrain your brain. They kind of trick your brain into going into a lower frequency. If you know about brainwave states.
Yes, I do.
Your brain starts going into first of all alpha brainwave frequency, which is 8 to 13 cycles per second, and then it goes down into theta and down into delta. But a lot of people struggle to sleep because they can't get into alpha. So their mind is going, the more thoughts you have, the more brainwaves are generated. And we know, you're lying and you're just thinking and you can't get to sleep.
For some time.
So there's it's a trick to trick your brain to say, okay, just slow down. As soon as the brainwave frequency comes down, the thoughts start stopping.
Yes.
And you're using the frequencies to just help that process. You can do it naturally with things like breathing and focus on breathing. That all helps. But if you do a bit of breathing and you stick the power sleep track on, for me anyway, it's just like bang. So then you sleep well, and you sleep more deeply. I find you sleep better. You go to sleep more easily. So you don't waste time. It's a waste of time.
Is it electric? Or is it batteries?
Well, you just need a device.
No, but the thing that you're putting on your ears. How do you charge it?
So it's just headphones.
Yes.
That then plug into a tablet. And the tablet sits. I've got long headphones, so it sits about 2 meters away from me. So there's an electronic device involved, but I put it as far away from my head as possible. Yes. So I got a really long cord. It's about a 2 meter long cord. And I think for me it's worth it because I'm just like, well,
it gets me sleep. You must.
Yeah, and quickly, so like even if I had a really busy day and a lot going on, I'd be like, right, 5 minutes done. I'm gone. And usually 4 or 5 hours deep sleep, and then I wake up refreshed. 5, 6 hours and I'm done. Excellent. So this is the kind of thing, these little things can make a big difference, and I give you all of this as part of the course. So this is all incorporated.
So it's £8 for the first bit.
Yeah, but don't worry, this is just the value. So I'm just showing you what's incorporated, and then I bundle it all together. So I'm not going to go, okay, pay, because that would be crazy. It's just like there's a lot in here. I packed a lot of value in here.
But I don't have to do it now. I don't have to do it now. This 2 weeks.
Well, the course is starting on Sunday, and it goes for 6 weeks. The first 6 weeks is actually the start of a 1-year program. But it's a 6-week course, standalone course in itself. You can do it and get a lot of benefit.
Every day for 6 weeks.
You don't have to join every day. I do.
No, that's ideal.
Ideally, if you want to really get benefit, you join these Zoom sessions daily. Well, you can do it on a phone or a tablet. Or Chris's computer.
If you were here longer, I could get out this funny thing that I've got in my cupboard.
Right.
Well, I don't even know where it is now.
Oh, it's a
But
computer.
it's got to be. It's a computer. It's a lovely big. No, not a. It's flat. I think it must be a tablet.
Tablet.
It was really nice. I've been thinking about using it because the writing's so nice and big.
Yeah. So you could use your tablet. You join, an online call like this, and you can see, all of it. So a PC is the best. There's a big screen like this. Is the best, but people join from their phones. They join from tablets.
About that side.
Yeah. So that's not bad.
That's actually very nice.
Yeah. So you can read stuff, and that's the idea. The phone can be a little bit small.
Yeah. Oh, dear, for me.
Yeah. So then, tablet or PC. So just getting the tech sorted, but these devices are common.
I don't know how I can ever be ready by Sunday.
Well, I can.
Sunday the what?
This Sunday, the 8th.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. No, I can help you. I can help you. It's not actually that difficult.
Maybe I must go to somebody to get it set up.
Yeah, maybe. Someone he's kind of techie.
It's going to that. Are you still on the air? Are you still on the air?
Oh, that's okay. We're just chatting. So, guided letting go, theta meditation. This is what someone had to say. So this is in the days of CDs, because I put it on a CD. Meditated to CDs from a couple of teachers, and although they served their purpose at the time, I was not able to experience the sense of completeness that your CD provided. The breathing technique for chakra balance is just what I needed. It's good to come out of meditation feeling energized and deeply relaxed without having to physically exert oneself. So I add the forgiveness exercise, which you included in the meditation, was invaluable. Going through this exercise left me with a sense of freedom and release. I absolutely love the energies I feel during the breathing exercises. I've already started experiencing strange but wonderful connections, meetings with strangers. Connections just spiritually blessed me and left me in awe as the way that divine works in the background. So this is the kind of flow. This is what starts happening. As you said in the CD, practicing meditation will profoundly influence your life. Really can't thank you enough for making the CD available. It's truly the best aid to meditation that I've bought to date, worth every penny. So once again, so that was the days when I just sold it as a CD, but it's the same meditation.
Yeah. I wonder where these people were before they heard about the course, because they might not have been in a spiritual frame of mind in the first place.
Well, usually there's some kind of openness. There's a searching, there's a seeking, and you're open to that. And then the course comes along and it speaks to that. If you're not open to that, then, well, you're just not going to join a presentation or you're going to leave. So you need to be open, and not everyone's open to this. I acknowledge that. It's like not for everyone, but if it resonates with you, then.
But a lot of people, like I am on the first few pages, I feel as though I am there already. I don't want to sound strange,
Yeah, you kind of get it.
Myself,
I'm just telling you what you already know.
I'm luckily there.
Yeah.
But I think that the part taking complete, it's almost as submitting yourself to realizing, turn around and look at it differently.
Yeah, well, it's what they call surrender to God.
Yes, surrender to God.
To say, okay, it's not my way, but it's your way. There's another way of doing this. So I'm not going to get all stressed and upset and try and solve all my problems myself.
No.
I'm going to let it go and say, okay, well, show me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like you did.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But I know there's another way.
Yes.
So just show me, and then that's like saying, okay, I'm not in charge anymore. And I'm allowing these miracles to bless me. A much easier way of living. Then couldn't it just be that easy? It actually could be, but the key is you've got to learn to let go of your own need to control. That's the ego. It says, I want to be in charge. I'll do it my way, and then you can't let go. You're like, no, I have to be in control. So I can't just let go and trust this sort of ethereal power I can't even see. But if you learn it and you can do it, it's amazing what starts to happen in your life. I've experienced it. Many other people have experienced it, as you can see. Robin, you heard from earlier, sleep track's been really useful. Last night when it ended, I drifted to sleep. I could hear each heartbeat. Interesting, because I'm sleeping better, I feel rested. My anxiety levels are definitely reduced. So all these little things add up.
Right. Absolutely.
Little things like if you don't sleep well, then you're tired and your energy levels are low, then you're much more likely to reach for a sugary drink or snack because it all compounds. So what I say to people is, okay, if your life isn't working, you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, just start with a few basics. Start with breathing 10 minutes a day. Start with using a power sleep track and getting better sleep. Start with fasting 16 hours a day, and you start putting these little structures in place,
Yes.
and it starts making a difference.
Yes.
And it all adds up. And then you start getting momentum in a positive way. You start going, oh, okay, actually I'm feeling a bit better. I've got better energy. So now I don't feel like I need to feed my face all the time and overeat. Now I don't need the cigarette as much. But and so slowly but surely you start a transformation happening. Just these little things, add up and make a difference.
Striving for your own excellence. Look, sometimes there was one story there. I've now got it out of context, but there was one story there, and I thought it could have been that man was doing so well. Oh, that was the tennis player, I think.
Yes.
Yes. But he might have been visualizing. That's another theory. Practice. Actually, it's more than a theory. And he might have been actually just seeing himself win. And then he wasn't. It was quite a crash for him.
Well, he had a desire to win, but his expectation wasn't being met. The reality didn't meet the expectation at all.
So it shows that principle of visualizing wasn't working that time.
Well, whether he was visualizing or expecting, the problem with expectation is it creates suffering, as the Buddha noted.
I know, I've got to write that down. My daughter's a prime one.
Expectation creates suffering, right? That's the fundamental principle of Buddhism, which is really saying the same thing as Jesus said. Let go of these desires, let go of these expectations that you have, because that's causing you a lot of pain. He called it forgiveness. The Buddha called it non-attachment. 6 of one and half a dozen of another. It's the same thing. You gotta let go of that.
Expectation causes what?
Suffering.
Oh yes.
I'm
so tired now. I can't do a thing.
That's the second noble truth of Buddhism. Desire or expectation, because that's what desire is, an expectation, causes all suffering. If you didn't expect, then you wouldn't suffer. It's because you have an expectation that it should be different to what it is that you suffer.
Darling brought us like that.
But a very profound insight.
Actually, I'll have an expectation that she's going to arrive and everybody's going to be ready and everyone's going to get back home. All these things, and it's going to be this, and we're going here, and we're going to do that.
And then it doesn't happen that way.
And somebody falls by the wayside. Disaster.
Yeah, but
I'm not loved.
But that's just her perception.
I know.
An unrealistic perception that's never going to be fulfilled, and that's a recipe for ongoing unhappiness, which is crazy. So it's just about saying, well,
that's her only problem. Maybe she's better these days with all her yoga and all her retreats and all her lessons.
Well, all of those are designed to facilitate one thing and one thing only. That's letting go.
Yes.
So all spiritual practices ultimately lead to your ability to let go. They increase your ability to let go more quickly, more easily, whether that's meditation or breath work or fasting. It all helps you to just let go more quickly. And things that take you in the wrong direction make you more attached. You can't let go of stuff. So, addictions, etc., being a classic example. You now can't let go of addiction. Yeah. Most people are addicted to controlling their lives. They want to know, I can't let go because I have to be in control.
Or you think your plan is so good.
Yeah.
You think your plan.
But, is your plan so good? That's why goal setting doesn't really work, because it's your plan. That goal setting.
I don't believe in it.
No, I don't, because it doesn't work. I've tried it. They say, okay,
gives you the wrong
have your 10-year goal and then break it down into a 5-year goal and break it down into 2 years and 1 year and 6 months. But that's very linear. Life doesn't work that way.
Also, the motive of doing whatever you're doing isn't as pure.
Yeah,
because you've got a goal.
You
you've
have
got to get to
you
that
have an
point.
agenda. You have an ulterior motive.
That's right.
And if you don't get to that point, then you get frustrated. And if you get frustrated, then you're unhappy. And then often people do unethical things. You get frustrated and you go, right, well, I'll just cheat or I'll lie or I'll steal or I'll do something because I need to get my goal. My goal's the overriding thing. And I'm not really worried about, the ethics of it and who I hurt in the process because my goal is everything. And that's when unethical behavior comes in.
That's why I had to refuse.
So, all these principles, it's not rocket science. This is all like you can observe.
And yes, it's in all the books for sales.
Yeah, but it's about applying it, which is why books, in my view, are not enough. You read a book, and on average, these are people like Tony Robbins who've written books. On average, people read not even the first chapter of the book. On average. Like 90% of people don't read the full book. And something like 50% only read the first chapter. So it's like, that's not sustainable. It's an idea, people pick it up. The idea of an immersion experience in a course is that you start like really embracing, immersing yourself, absorbing, practicing, learning, making mistakes, coming back, saying, okay, so like Vim did. Okay, so I've had this experience, it wasn't great. What do you think? What can I do? I give him a little bit of advice, a little bit of guidance. He goes away, he applies, and he's like, wow, okay, now I've actually had two different experiences and I've learned a huge amount from that. And that's something that a book can't teach you. That's his own experience. It's taught him that. Which is why things like meditation and so on are so powerful. So one study showed that when people meditate, a group of people meditate with compassionate intent for just half an hour a day, it's not a long time, over a period of 8 weeks, they became less stressed, less reactive to other people's negativity and suffering, more compassionate. And there are many other studies that show that regular meditation lowers stress levels, boosts immunity, improves mental and physical health and well-being. If you just Google benefits of meditation, you'll find loads. There's loads of.
I think that one of the key things of being happy is being involved in making other people happy.
Yeah, well, this is where purpose comes
in. Which you are doing on this, and I do it in certain ways.
Yeah.
And I think that if you cannot live on your own, just on your own purpose, your own needs, your own
if everything's just about you,
it's all about you,
then that's not very fulfilling.
Like that, and guess what? They aren't very happy.
No, because it doesn't make you very happy.
They can't do that. They've got too much to do. They're having tea with somebody. Yeah. It's too much. Yeah. Don't know. I have to move. I'm got to drop. Yeah. My head feels like it's as heavy as a stable. Yeah. Because this is so.
Okay. Can you do 10 more minutes? I'll just finish this.
I've just opened this gate and I must drink something. My mouth
yeah.
is so
okay. We'll take a break.
Right?
I'll just have a tea top up. Thanks.
Tea. You'd like it. I've reached my limit.
Right. Well, you did pretty well.
Is that a box over there? That's a box. Plastic box. Yeah. That's for the perfect. She loves him. I'll just have a little and then I'm going to see what's the option. It's not. I'll go and get. Master 56. Yeah. Line masters allowed. Correct. Yeah. That's take it. Not big bias still. It wasn't the entertainment. We got at the table really bad because Jasper wasn't good. So he sat there one and eggs up. And so we forced the forfeits of the funny with that. Good idea.
Okay, so I'll just run. These are some of the benefits of meditation: lowering your stress levels, more peace of mind.
I've got a high stress level. I'm very happy on that level. Low stress level makes me unhappy.
So you in other words, you
work best on a high stress level. But now that I'm getting older, I can't work
high
on
stress level. Or so you
that.
actually
I like to be.
yeah. But are you relaxed when you do that? So you operating, you're doing things, but are you in flow when you do it? That's the question. Well, there you go. Then you're not stressed.
I'm not stressed. No, I'm not stressed.
Stress is when you're not enjoying it. Right? Stress is when I don't want to be doing this.
No.
I'm resisting, whatever's going on.
No.
That's stress,
I feel sorry for people, and stress has become such a normal word in the vocabulary. It wasn't there when we were children. No, you never heard the word stress.
Yeah. But that stress is just your expectations not being met. That's stress.
That's it. That's a good way.
Yeah, as Deepak Chopra, that quote earlier, that all stress is just the fear of your expectations not being met. Simple as that. If you drop the expectations, then you don't have stress anymore. Simple, but not that easy, because we all have inbuilt expectations, assumptions. You say, I don't really expect something, but actually you do expect, someone should behave in a certain way, someone should treat you in a certain way, this person should do that or not do that, life should work this way.
Yeah,
and then it doesn't.
They should.
They should, yeah, but it doesn't. And then you get stressed because the reality doesn't meet your expectation. But that's just perceptual. It's just your expectation that's really the problem, not the reality. And that's such a simple principle, but very, very few people understand it. Everyone's like still in expectation, still expecting, and then getting disappointed all the time because life doesn't meet your expectations.
We just talk about people on here.
No, it's just us, but it's fine.
No, because remember when my son phoned before we started. Nikki is coming on Saturday from England. And he was going to fetch her and bring her here. She's dying to get here. This is her home. This is her home. She wants to be here. She wants to have breakfast here. And then we're going to a massage at 2. I'm sending her to 1 2. And then we're going to this water sound. It's wonderful. I should send her to. She's probably had minor once, but this is big. Anyway, then Pierre phones and there's been a little undercurrent of unhappiness for a year, because all to do with the daughter's wedding, her daughter's wedding. And the family from here couldn't all fly to Croatia. It's expensive. But we could offer her something here. Anyway, she went into a misery about it, and it isn't properly healed. So this whole forgiveness thing is very important.
Yeah. It is.
Get over it.
Yeah.
Put it behind you, move forward.
And it's all expectation.
It's expectations. It's all expectation. I thought that maybe somebody would just arrive on the steps and Anyway, now she's coming here, and it's quite traumatic for her. She's coming into the family she might see as wolves. She's coming. So Pierre's a younger brother, 9 years younger, and he's made this big effort. He's going to meet at the airport. He always does. Wouldn't dream of letting her just come. Going to fetch her. He was going to bring her here for breakfast, where she wants to be. And he phones up, and Claire would like to make breakfast there at her house. Now I had to adjust. I said, can I just think about this? There were other things. I had the gardener, and I wanted it to be nice when she arrived, and if I'm not here. Anyway, then I went up there, and I was quiet, and then I phoned Pierre, and I said, what a lovely idea. And I hope that is going with the flow.
Yeah.
Don't force your own thing that you want it. It might be better. He might prefer it more. He might. But on the other hand, it's wonderful in the bigger picture that she sees her brother and her sister-in-law want to enfold her as soon as she arrives. Yeah. So that's how I'm seeing it.
Yeah. And that's, example, listening to guidance. It's just more peaceful, you have more poise under pressure, you have mental clarity, concentration, it raises your energy levels. Meditation helps you sleep more deeply, increases your productivity and effectiveness, improves your immune system and general health, your sense of well-being. It slows down the aging process. I'm 53.
I know you're doing.
I don't look 53, do I?
You look very good.
So, there's the demonstration. It's like, okay, if you practice this stuff, it really does. I see some of my peers, I'm like, yeah, I've got a friend who's only 4 months older than me, I think. He looks 20 years older. I'm like, well, what's the difference then? What am I doing differently to him? That's then becomes the question.
Same with Nikki. She looks beautiful.
Yeah.
People can't believe it.
These principles work. Help you live longer, feel younger, develop your intuition and creativity, improve your ability to let go and forgive others, experience more loving, harmonious relationships, make you feel happier and more fulfilled, continuously guide you to find your flow in life. And my own experience is that it does all that, but in time, it's a process. You don't think some people are, I did one meditation session and it doesn't work because I didn't get it.
So many people are like,
you got to persevere with it. You got to practice it,
exactly.
And over time, over years, you start to get it on a deeper level. But it does require time and patience, which is why I facilitate the process. So I take you through live guided meditations from Monday to Friday, recordings of the live sessions, which I send via Telegram. So I'll tell you how to get on Telegram, which is where I share all this stuff. So there's a lot of meditation built into the course, is the bottom line, and I give you all of those tools up front and ongoing. And then forgiveness and letting go. We have a 10-step letting go process, instruction and written worksheet, which I'll give you anyway. I'll give you the written worksheet. 6 other short letting go techniques in the course manual. As you remember, this lady said it makes forgiveness seem so simple. A daily mind training lesson from A Course in Miracles sent via email and Telegram. So if you stack all this up, there's quite a lot of value. It's still pounds, by the way, because it's priced in pounds. But I'll show you how I bundle it all together, and it's actually comes to something that's not unaffordable. Breathwork and mind training. So the breathwork course consists of audio and video recordings, a written instruction sheet to guide you through 13 powerful breathwork techniques, including holotropic breathing sessions. I'm actually going out to Cape Town to record the rest of these sessions. I did.
It's a big breaker.
Yeah, which so this is all going to be part of the course. It already is, but I've got new videos which are now going to be incorporated. They're much better. Holotropic breathing, which most people, as you say, can say awesome. It really is a mind-blowing experience. And you remember what happened with Phil? That was facilitated by the holotropic breathing. It's amazing stuff. I give you some breath breaks. So these breath breaks just help you to check in. You may not have 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but you may have 3 minutes, 4 minutes. So it's like, okay, just do a breath break, do a little bit of mind training, do a bit of breathing, check in, reconnect. And if you do that consistently through the day, it's just making quite a big difference. So that's the idea. The breath breaks just help you do that. And I send them to you. So right there we go. there's your breath break today with your lesson, incorporating breathing. As you see, one of the ladies.
I've got to get that thing fixed up.
Yeah, the tablet. Yeah, you can do it on your phone as well.
Too small.
Well, listening, you can listen on your phone.
I can listen.
Yeah, but for the visual sessions, I'd recommend.
Yeah, but you see all that
tablet.
writing.
Yeah,
it's nice to see the writing.
Yeah, bigger is better. Wow, I feel totally relaxed, connected. And this lady said this: I love these reminders that really help me. I'm often busy scurrying around lost in thoughts, believing that these reminders are extremely helpful for me to take a pause and return to the here and now, stop freaking out. Like I said before, the one technique, I sent her this breath break. She was in the middle of a panic attack, and you
see, that's
she just did it, and
these panic attacks.
Yeah.
Panic attacks.
Yeah, but some people.
Do you have panic attacks?
No, I don't have panic attacks. But then, if I practice this stuff and I was having panic attacks someday, I'm doing something wrong.
No, but I mean, before you did also.
No, I mean, probably more anxiety, but I wouldn't say panic. A panic attack is where you literally can't breathe. You're freaking out so much. So
it's terrible.
But just starting to breathe deep diaphragmatic breaths will stop a panic attack.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Yes.
You can just go, okay, take some nice deep breaths. Physiologically, you start relaxing, and you'll notice whenever someone's having a panic attack, it's like the really irregular, fast breathing. So the two go hand in hand. You start slowing the breathing down, you calm the mind, and the panic drops, and you're like, okay, just breathe. Which is why, this is a cliche, just breathe. Someone's freaking out, just breathe, because it works.
Yeah.
So I give you these little breath breaks to help you to do that. You also get daily emails, Telegram messages with an inspirational quote, a daily mind training lesson, daily reading from a section of the text, and an ideal spiritual schedule for the day. So I'll give you a little example of what that looks like.
That's a lovely spiritual thing for the day.
Yeah, so like a quote, that happens to be a quote from the Bible, not all from the Bible. Sometimes quotes from modern teachers, and then another quote, and then some teaching, and all of this stuff, like I cover repeatedly. So this wouldn't be new. This was the last email of the last year's program I sent. We covered this, but it's like a recap. It's like, okay, so look at it again, think about it again, because the more you do that, the more you start to get it. It starts becoming like, okay, I'm getting this, I'm starting to understand, and you're probably not going to get it the first time, you're probably not going to get it the second time.
You might get it in some way.
In some way, yeah, like you get it on some level.
You get it in that way, and another way,
yeah,
and maybe in
and that's the beauty of truth. The more you practice it, the more you go, I'm getting this more and more. So I've been studying this stuff for 25 years. I've been running this program for 7 years, and I'm still learning.
Yeah,
it's still like, I'm still benefiting from the lessons because I do all of the stuff myself. Even though I know you need constant reminding because your ego is very persistent, and especially when you've got wars and stuff going on around the world, you have to remind yourself. So I'm sitting in the dentist today, got a big screen there right in front of me, and I'm like watching what's going on in the Middle East for half an hour, and I just practice forgiveness. I just go, none of this is really real. So I'm not going to get upset. It's a projection of an insane mind. You're seeing the projection of an insane mind onto the screen of time and space.
It's awful that people can, but I want to get my phone from here. So
no problem.
Phone the gate.
So I give you a whole ideal spiritual schedule as well, which you can go through every day. You can do as much of it or as little as if you want to, but it's all in the email.
Very nice. This is what I'm going to tomorrow night. The sound studio.
Very nice. Sound journey. Very nice. So that's another spiritual practice. Yeah, I've done a sound journey. Yeah. And then we do these group discussions. So that's live interactive online discussion sessions, which you don't have to join all of them, but if you join some of them, the more you join, the more you'll benefit. It's as simple as that. But there's no obligation to join everyone. If you can do a couple of times a week, you're doing pretty well. But you can do up to about 17 hours a week if you wanted to. And there's a lot of benefit that happens in those sessions because you're discussing with me, you're discussing with other people. As Vim said, there's a powerful dynamic in doing the course material together as a group and sharing energy. So that's valued over £1,000. You get the audio recording. So if you can't make a session, I send you the recording straight away on your phone, and you can listen to it as and when you want. You could be cooking, walking, driving, shopping, doing chores around the house, and just you listen. You can listen on your phone. So you don't have to join the live session, but I'd encourage you to because you get more benefit if you do. 1 or 2 extra recorded discussion sessions every day. So I give you some bonus sessions as well from previous courses because I've run this for several years now. So yeah, that's really where the primary value is, and in these live sessions you can really learn a lot.
I'm sure.
And then reading of this book. So you don't have to buy the book because I'll give you the reading. It's all online, and I'll say, right, here we go. Yeah. So we're nearly there, Mom.
I want to phone the gate.
Yeah. Just yeah. Let's finish this. We'll finish this in about 5 minutes. So
I'm really collapsing. I might not make it to my bed at this rate. I'm really finished.
Really tight. Okay. So I'm just going to skip through. These are the other aspects I've already kind of covered. Thanks. And fasting, end of day reflection. These are just all the different components of all those things too. So there's the summary basically, right? So all of that, if you add it up, is 2,225. There's a course exercise pack which I give you, which stacks up to £19. If you add up all of those components, it comes to 2274 plus 91 for 3 months additional access to the Telegram group, 2365 plus there's a whole lot of back material. I've done literally thousands of hours of video recordings, so you can get access to all that if you want it. For most people, that's going to be overkill. They're not going to need that because I'm giving them.
I'm taking so is Krista.
Yeah. So what I do is I try and make it easy. It's just given to you in a Telegram message. I'll show you how to download Telegram and an email, and so you can access all the information.
I'm sorry you're not around for a little bit longer.
Yeah, well, I might come back next week.
It's 23:40. I'm sorry, it's 20 to 12.
Yeah, okay, let's
It's not because it's 20 to 12, it's just that I'm already exhausted from this, what I've been doing.
Yeah. So let's just get to the crux of it. All of that added up comes to about £3,000 of value.
Oh my gosh.
But no, I'm not going to charge you that, don't worry. Less than 90% discount, less than early bird discount. And you've actually been incredibly good to me by hosting me. So we make it, say, £250, which is about 5,970. So that's for the whole 6 weeks, which is a 91% discounted value. So if you want the whole experience, that's what it'll cost, or what you'll invest. It starts on Sunday, just to go through the logistics. Sunday the 8th of March, and it goes to Sunday the 19th of April. So it's a 43-day course.
Over Easter.
It's a 43-day course. You don't have to join every day. We have a break on Saturdays, 6 days a week. So the main sessions to do are Sundays.
Yeah, are they?
Yeah, and then during the week there'll be some sessions in the day, some sessions in the evening. You can choose.
Yeah.
You don't have to join every one. If you don't join it, you can listen to the recording. Yeah. So no one joins everyone except me.
Security Marlborough. Well, you might come back again.
Thanks for doing that. So just in terms of timings, so Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. UK time. So that's going to be 3 p.m. or 2 p.m. Depending on because the clocks change at the end of the month. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 7 p.m. So evening, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday. So the 6 days a week, there's those sessions to choose from. But as I said, you don't have to join all of them. It's entirely up to you. Each session will last 2 to 3 hours, except for some Sundays and last weeks that can be longer, where we go through some really experiential stuff. It's actually quite personal. You go into like, what is the game you play? What does your ego do? And so that's when it gets really valuable, because it's not just general principles. Like, okay, so what is my stuff? How do I let go of that? And I guide you through the whole process, step by step. So I've done it in little bite-sized chunks, guide you through it. If you just follow the process and you're willing to show up and pretty much follow what I'm telling you to do as much as you can, you'll get a lot of benefit. That I can guarantee, because I've run it many times before, and people do. So in week 1, there's an introduction, there's theory. We do the first chapter of the text of the Course in Miracles. We look at the Art of Letting Go course manual, 7 pathways to higher consciousness. Then we learn and practice 7 fundamental breathwork techniques. And then it just gets weeks 2 to 6, we just deepen. We go into the more advanced breathwork techniques. We do 35 mind training lessons of the Course in Miracles workbook. We go through chapters 2 to 5 of the Course in Miracles text, work through some exercises in the Art of Letting Go course manual, and do the holotropic breathing, last 5 pathways to high consciousness. So that can sound very overwhelming, but I'm just going to take you through it daily, step by step.
But I might not be able to do it this time. I might not be able to. Because I'm much slower than I was. The reading is seriously bad. I am losing my sight, and I'm taking much longer to do anything. Look,
but you can just go at your own pace.
Yeah, but look, the benefits you've got to do.
You don't have to do all of it. You don't have to do all of it.
But you should do 2 or 3 hours a couple of times a week to do it properly.
But you can just listen. So those are the discussion sessions. Most of it's listening, learning auditory. If you can do some reading, that's great. But a lot of the time, I take you through the reading for the day in the session. So I'm like, we're reading it. You read it on the screen. Other people are reading it, and you kind of absorb it. So a lot of it is very auditory. I'm giving you the recordings. You can listen. You can engage in the live sessions.
I think it's wonderful, especially for people who've got these, who are not happy like I am, who are not certain about their life after death. I don't know what it is, but I know I'm going there.
Yeah.
I have to focus on that. That's what I'm focusing on. Not about getting happy, because I am happy. I am happy. I am content. And if I'm not happy, I can cope with making a plan. Making a plan. So,
well, I'll answer those questions as well, because it's all connected.
Yeah.
It's one. It's one teaching. Okay, so I think that's probably.
I really enjoyed it, John.
Yeah, that's probably about it.
Really
we can talk further about it.
That you enjoyed doing that course, and that
people
are loving it, and that so many people are loving it.
Yeah, well,
it's really fulfilling.
I've had a lot of good feedback. My next task is just to get it out there more. You can also do a more a cut down version of the course where you just join on Sundays. So that's also a possibility, just so you know.
But 90th birthday coming up now, but 62 friends and half the world of relations. You might have a clearer mind.
Yeah, so that's happening this week, is it? Yeah, but that's okay. You can just get through that. The first week is kind of introductory, and you do what you can, and then carry on off to it. As I said, if you just want to do one live session a week, it's only 1970 for the whole course. So, but we'll discuss it further, Margaret. Yeah, because it is late, and I appreciate the time you spent. Well, I need to probably get some sleep as well. So shall we leave it there? Yeah. Okay. So anyone watching, thanks for joining. Yeah, if you'd like to join this course, then drop me an email. I'll put the details in the.
You want to outline?
Let me just. So yeah, just check the YouTube, the comments in this video below. There's my email address, so you can send me a mail if you're interested in joining the Art of Letting Go course, and hope to connect with you soon. Thanks for watching.